All right, all right, all right. Welcome in. We're going to be streaming the 2026 NFL Draft. It's about just a shade under 29 minutes until draft time. My name's Jared. I'm here with my good buddy Josh. You fired up or what?
We are excited, man. We are less than 30 minutes away till the draft. The NFL has changed so this year, instead of a 10-minute period in between picks, we are down to 8 minutes. So this thing could go quicker than ever in a good way. And with all the excitement, all the news that's been flying by, especially these last 24 hours, who knows what's going to happen?
We got Goat Hippo 93 in here with us. Goat Hippo's fired up. Love to see it.
Shout out to Goat Hippo. Appreciate you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us right now, so we appreciate it.
There you go. Goat Hippo. Let's go. Thank you, Alex. Great angles. We do our best.
All about it, man. 45 degrees, 90 degrees, 180, 360. We can do it all.
So a couple big storylines before the draft actually gets started here. Obviously, I have my Cowboys shirt on. We're Cowboys fans, but we'll be covering this from all angles, of course. But
another
angle. But Josh, some scoop off going on regarding George Pickens. Schefter reporting he signed his tender. Todd Archer pouring a little cold water on that, saying, maybe not quite yet, but that looks like the plan. In either case, it opens up the opportunity for a trade. I don't think the timing is coincidental. Whether games are afoot or whether George Pickens really may be on the block. There's a lot of different ways this could go. But what's kind of your take on this?
So we can say a lot of things about the Dallas Cowboys as a football organization. Some could say that given the hype, it's not worth it. They have not been to a NFC conference game at this point in more than 30 years, since 1995. A lot of you guys watching were either in diapers or were not even potentially born yet the last time that happened. But one thing that we can say is Jerry Jones in the Cowboys organization understands PR. For better or worse, they know PR.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a coincidence that former President Bill Clinton decided to show up in the middle of their press conference yesterday? No, that's not a coincidence. Whatever they do, there's a reason. We as fans of both the Cowboys and the NFL as a whole may not agree or like it, but there's a reason for it. And from their perspective, whether there's real smoke or they just want teams to think there is smoke, there is something behind the scenes going on. I think, especially for those of you who have followed the NFL and more specifically the Cowboys in the last, we'll just call it 18 months, there's been one big nemesis of the Cowboys. It's not even someone on the field. It's actually off-field agent David Mulugheta. Jared, you want to explain to the people here who David Mulugheta is and why I'm saying that he may be the biggest enemy of the greater Dallas Cowboys organization from a off-field football perspective?
Yeah, so David Mulugheta is one of the most successful NFL agents around. He's got a lot of really high-end clients, high-dollar clients, namely Micah Parsons. And there were some issues regarding Jerry's communication with Micah surrounding his contract talks, thinking he agreed to a deal, but he never talked with David Mulugheta about that. And we all know how that ended with the trade to Green Bay and a very disgruntled Parsons. So naturally, when they go ahead and trade for George Pickens, guess who George's agent is?
David Mulugheta.
David Mulugheta. So, there's reports they've tried to extend an olive branch, and they sat down and had a good conversation about, we want him to play under the tag, let him prove himself, and then we'll talk long-term deal after that.
Yeah.
I think the reality of the situation is this can only go one of two ways. Either George, does it again, has another great year, in which case he's entitled to well over $40 million a year. He would earn that on the open market, and I don't think the Cowboys would give it to him. I don't think they want to pay him more than what they're paying CeeDee Lamb right now. And the other side of the coin would be that Pickens struggles, that he, with the uncertainty of the tag, he's just not playing as well. Maybe has, some of the off-field stuff rears its ugly head. And in that case, the Cowboys aren't going to want to pay him either. So I just don't really see a scenario where Pickens is sticking around long term. And so I think that is where we maybe get into, some of the trade speculation aspect of that.
No, for sure. And I think especially if you look at it, George Pickens has been in the league now. This is going to be year number 5, I believe. Is that correct? He's going to be going to year 5.
I think that sounds right.
So given that he is relatively young too, for someone who has been doing that, he was a guy that just happened to be.
Sorry, Josh. My brother's in here with some shots fired.
That's okay. You know what, Justin? You're a new father. I'm gonna respect you for the sake of your child right now. So.
Sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Anyway, all I was gonna say was. And that he's relatively young for someone who's been in the league as long as he has.
Yeah.
So if a team were to decide to trade for him, you still got a lot of tread left on those tires.
Definitely.
And a guy that, last year you can make an argument at points, not saying the full year, but at points, may have been the best receiver in the league. There was that stretch there during the middle of the season where, especially when CeeDee Lamb went out, George became true wide receiver 1. He was about as good as you could get. So if there is a team that's like looking this year specifically and you're trying to decide, do I want a Jordan Tyson receiver out of Arizona State? Do I want a Carnell Tate receiver out of Ohio State? Or do I want a Makai Lemon even receiver out of USC who won the Biletnikoff, which is the best receiver in college? And they're all, we don't know what they are. We know what they could be, but we don't know what they are. We know what George Pickens is in the NFL. So some team may decide.
Or at least what George could be with quality quarterback play and a strong passing offense.
Correct. He has shown, at least on the NFL level, if these things happen, I can actually do it.
Right.
And that's the risk with anybody being drafted tonight. I know you and I are going to have some arguments. I think especially pick number 2, we have some different theories about what might be happening.
And we got a Jets fan in the house, so we'll I'm sure that Mitch will have some input there.
And I think we did have a question though before we get to
before we get into the weeds on George Pickens stuff. Goat Hippo asked, who do we think will be a surprise player that drops? So do you take this one first?
So I think I'm going to go with it from 2 perspectives. I'm going to go with drops relative to where they think they've gone and someone who's actually going to drop.
Okay.
So I think someone who is going to drop relative to where they have been throughout this process is Arvell Reese. And the reason I say that is there's now some smoke, which I've been saying now for a while, that the Jets may go with defensive end David Bailey out of Texas Tech, previously at Stanford. And if that happens, Reese is kind of this unique chess piece. And some teams may decide it's not worth us taking him as a piece where we don't know what he is or where he's going to be a great fit at. So he may slide, again, he will stay in the top 10, but he may slide relative to where he went. The other guy that I think could fall really significantly, and it's cheating a little bit, but again, this guy's been a consensus first-round talent, is cornerback Jermon McCoy out of Tennessee. I think that the injury history and then some other medicals that have apparently been coming in through multiple sources may have him slide until day 2. We saw that last year with cornerback Will Johnson out of Michigan, who ended up sliding all the way down, I believe, to the second round to the Cardinals. Again, he had a relatively decent rookie year, but right now medical has become so important for these teams, especially these last 2 to 3 years, that I could see him, even though talent-wise, he could be cornerback 1.
Definitely.
But
his 24 tape was unbelievable.
I think that the injuries are going to scare too many teams and that he will have a significant slide comparatively, where at some points, I think even as of 2-3 weeks ago, I was seeing him as high as like 8-9 to like the Saints and the Chiefs. But I think I could see a scenario where he doesn't get picked tonight.
Yeah. I think there's a very real chance that he slips out of the first round. I'm just kind of looking over at some options here. I could see a situation where Francis Mauigoa falls a little bit with the herniated disc.
I could potentially see that. I think, again, offensive linemen are so rare, and especially you and I were talking off air right before we got on about this draft and offensive tackles, that, again, he could be that equivalent to that Arvell Reese, where I could see him maybe going down to 10, maybe even 11 with Miami, saying, hey, we just need talent. Plus, kind of cool keeping a Miami guy in Miami,
Right.
not from there originally, but played at the University of Miami. That I could maybe see that.
Well, and it's also tough because Mauigoa he's only played right tackle. Yeah. He's a right tackle, maybe a guard at the NFL level. If you're looking for a left tackle specifically,
you're not going to get it with him.
You're probably not taking Mauigoa.
This is not one of those situations where you can magically switch him over from right tackle to left. And when I say relatively guaranteed, he will be a project if you go to left.
Yes.
He's going to potentially excel as a right tackle.
Right. And maybe he would succeed at left tackle, but he's unproven. He's never taken a college snap there.
No.
If I'm looking at
I know there were a couple other questions I want to make sure we get to.
Oh yeah, let's do that
as well. I think Mitch had two, so I'll start with the first one here. I'll take this one as the Bama guys. You guys can see in the background. Does Ty Simpson go tonight? The answer is yes. And I'm not saying that just because I saw basically every snap that he has played his whole college career. But if there's one position in the NFL that gets overvalued for better or worse, it is quarterback. And what is more important than just the overvalue is the first round pick. You get what is called a 5th-year option, which basically means that you get to keep your first round player for an additional 5th year, though obviously at an increased rate.
Right.
But you retain their rights for a 5th year versus if you draft somebody in the 2nd through 7th round.
Sure.
So I think some team is going to decide whether the talent is there or not. That is up to them. But they are going to choose somebody's going to pick Ty Simpson tonight. And I think I know Dan Orlovsky, I think specifically, has been very much on the Ty Simpson train. A lot of folks saying that in terms of assuming he's healthy, which we can get to that a little later, but that some can say he's the most pro-ready quarterback in terms of what he was doing last year, especially given Bama's lack of elite offensive line compared to what we've been used to over these last 15 plus years. And I think some team's going to say we can refine a couple of things. He has some wheels on him. I'm not going to call him a runner by any means.
No, but he's a solid athlete.
But he's a better athlete than you would assume.
Yes.
So he does have some mobility that can help. Again, mostly avoiding sacks. I would not say he's a read option type quarterback where you want to do a whole lot of quarterback power with him. But it can, get you about, imagine Russell Wilson like 4 years ago. not prime Russ.
Yeah, I think you look at a team like Arizona moving back into the first round would be a threat. I think that there's been some connections to the Rams.
Yeah,
could that be?
I know, especially before the Trent McDuffie trade. There,
yeah, 29.
That would have been some real smoke, but they decided to go in a different direction.
So I think it's definitely plausible. I wouldn't bet on it. In the mock drafts I did, I didn't project any trades just because it's too hard. I feel like it's a fool's errand to get those right. But the reality is the Cardinals may want to try and jump the Jets and make sure they don't pop Simpson at the top of the second round.
Yeah, that's the other thing is too, that the Jets, I could easily see day 2, depending on who's on the board. Some people will say that he has a first round talent in terms of what he could be. And again, I don't know if he's going to necessarily be a top 10 quarterback at his peak, but he could be somebody at least provide some stability if the Jets hypothetically could bring that to him. Again, same with Arizona in the 2nd, but some team may decide we want that 5th year. We want to risk it. So I would say yes.
Okay. We before we get to the next couple questions here, looks like they're introducing the green room draft prospects, Dylan Thieneman, and I didn't see who was before. Maybe Reese.
I missed that. Who we got?
In the all-white suit.
I
don't know who that was.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, our volume's off. Okay, real quick, Goat Hippo, any comments on Vrabel Rossini? I mean, so he just had basically came on a press conference and said, I'm going to be stepping away. My family needs me. And Will that have an effect on how the Pats draft?
I'm going to say no.
Probably not.
Because honestly, Elliott Wolf has done a nice job, especially obviously given what they've done going from one of the worst teams in the league to an AFC conference game, conference championship game here last year. And also, I think his dad was a part of that Green Bay front office with Favre in the 90s. And I cannot remember Dad's first name off the top of my head, but I know that he does come from a football pedigree.
Right.
So this is something that he knows what he's doing. So we had a couple. I think we missed.
Let's hit this one from Mitch. Then we'll take a couple. We'll get to Alex about the Oregon boys, and then Mitch had another question as well. So is Love the right choice for the Cardinals? Personally, I don't buy it. I think there's a lot of teams in the top 10, namely the Titans, the Giants, the Commanders, and even the Saints, that would, no pun intended, would love to get their hands on Love. And part of me thinks it's trying to get some trade leverage.
That's very possible.
Would he be the best player? To me, it's Downs, but Love is number 2, and I'll be having my big board coming across the screen here in a little bit. So could you argue BPA? Sure. I just think they just spent some money on Tyler Algier, who, Tyler Algier is not going to stop you from drafting Jordan Love.
And they still have James.
They still have James Conner, who, again, not going to stop you from drafting Jeremiah. Did I say Jordan Love the first time? Jeremiah Love. But that's not. It just doesn't seem like the kind of
team
move. I think Monty Ossenfort's more of new age, like position values matter and things like that. So to me, I think it's a bit of smoke to try and get a team to come up. I think we know that they want to get out. There's been tons of rumors about them trying to get out of 3. I think the Saints could maybe be a team looking to come up to 3 to try and grab Bain or Reese, whichever one is still there, and secure their pass rusher.
Very possible.
And then I think the Cardinals can sit there at 8 and get the offensive lineman that they wanted all along, whether that's Maui Noah that we talked about, Spencer Fano out of Utah. So there's a lot of options there. So me personally, I don't buy it, but I guess you can never be surprised.
You see, the Cardinals are a team that has been a little unconventional in the past in terms of what they've done. And I'm not saying that in a negative light, but in terms of, they've got Zaven Collins a few years ago that I believe is still with the team, but has been kind of the weird position. I think he started out more of a linebacker. They put him more on the defensive line right now. Mixed results. I think that's probably a fair thing to say. Isaiah Simmons was another guy they got a few years ago. Elite talent. Was he a linebacker? Was he a safety? We don't really know. And there's been some other ones that they've got that have been, I want to say questionable, but that they don't mind trying to play with someone exciting. I think given the new regime, a new head coach, he has some leeway. He's coming from a system in Green Bay that, though, yes, obviously they've had Josh Jacobs the last couple of years, and he's done great. But traditionally, Green Bay was not a team that spent high capital, especially first-round capital or really free agency for that matter, on a running back. I think before they got Jacobs, I think the highest they spent on a running back, maybe like Eddie Lacy in 2013, the second round. So again, obviously he was not there then. I'm not saying that, but my guess is they will go someone defensive. If they don't, I would say it's probably
offensive tackle.
Which I would say Maui Noah would be the one I would go with, especially since we already know they have Paris Johnson. Yeah, Paris Johnson's already on the left side. Maui Noah goes to the right tackle. Great, you got your bookends. You got your receivers already kind of in place. You got enough running backs to be dangerous enough, and then you just kind of go from there.
Goat Hippo agrees with us that he thinks it's to try and bait the Giants into a trade up. Yeah. We are about 9 minutes away from the draft starting. At least, are we on the Hulu delay or whatever?
We are on a slight 30 to 40 second delay, but we will have multiple internet sources up to try to see if we can get picks more in quote real time. We will not spoil them unless it's something so ridiculous that we feel you guys deserve it. But I know there's a couple other questions we want to get to before things get too far. I know we had a question about the Oregon boys over here. So Jared, I'll leave it to you. Give
Sure. So I think the top guys for Oregon this year. Well, Dante Moore would have been pretty interesting if he declared. He obviously came back.
You could have made an argument.
You could have made an argument for one. I think the physical tools are there, but we'll cross that bridge in 2027. It seems. Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end, definitely has a chance at going mid-round one.
I mean, I've heard rumors at one point in that 9 range to Kansas City. Again, I don't think it happens, but there was at least a little bit of discussion about that, especially with will Travis Kelce, obviously he is going to play again next year. He signed an extension, but long-term, do you want somebody to kind of have that gap year, and then, at that point, Mahomes will have a new toy to get to play with.
Right. So Kenyon Sadiq, definitely someone to keep an eye on tonight. Dylan Thieneman as well.
That's a guy I think for sure will go top.
Sorry.
Yeah, we have a visitor, guys. So apologies about that, but yeah, I think Thieneman could be a very interesting piece in terms of. I've heard a lot of smoke that he does not get past 18, which is Minnesota.
Yeah, I think Minnesota's probably the floor. I think that's the lowest he could go.
I think the ceiling might be probably that Dallas range at 12. I don't see him going any higher than that, but I see in certain scenarios Dallas potentially picking him at 12. So I would say Thieneman is the guy that I would guess goes the highest. But again, I think Sadiq, I've heard some rumors about the Rams at 13 at one point. So if that's something where if the Rams won offensive firepower, which I think they're trying to get, given that they see this as a year where we've got Stafford, we redid the secondary. Let's get as many weapons as possible. Right now, tight end is okay, but a guy like Sadiq could just add a whole different dimension. So I could see him go to 13.
Yeah, Sadiq lit up the combine, showed off that athleticism. At 241 pounds, he ran a 4.3940, had a vertical jump of 43.5 inches and a broad jump of 11.1. So pretty crazy stuff, kind of a Vernon Davis-y type of tight end.
Definitely that vertical threat style. So however you want to define that for the type of person that you like. But yeah, he's definitely not going to be the blocker that you want necessarily on 3rd and 1. He can do it, but that's not his strength. Yeah, he's definitely more in the vertical threat category.
And then some day 2, day 3 guys. Corner Jaden Kennedy is an interesting nickel option. Malik Benson, the receiver. Noah Whittington at running back. But Oregon had a lot of talent return. They're going to be a really strong team this coming season with a lot of NFL talent.
Yeah, and there were a couple others again to know before the draft starts. We want to make sure we try to answer those.
Dog's excited about the internet. Last pre-draft prediction for the Cowboys draft. I'm going to say Mansour Delane at 12. And I think they're going to cornerback from LSU, probably the top corner on the board. And then I'm going to say at 20, they're going to move back, try and pick up some extra day 2 capital and grab an edge rusher or Keldrick Falk, who, could play some edge, but probably more that 5 technique right over the tackle, 4-eye just on the inside of the tackle. Really strong run defender. But if they go receiver, we're going to learn very quickly what their plans with George Pickens are going to be.
I would definitely agree. I would say if I had to guess this second, I think Mansour Delane is the most likely pick, with Jordan Tyson being, I'll call it option B, meaning depending on how the board goes / Delane is gone, he'd be there. My personal hope, my draft day Vontae back no matter what pick is Caleb Downs, but again, I don't think that is going to happen in reality. And then at 20, there's been a lot of Colton Hood talk. I could see Colton Hood, but I think defensive end Malachi Lawrence out of the University of Central Florida.
I like that.
Is a guy that, again, in most years, is he worth the 20th pick? I'm not 100% sure. But if you're talking about a guy who's a long, rangy, edge-like guy that can be a traditional 4-3 edge, or a guy that can play some 3-4 outside linebacker and pass scenarios, a little toolsy, a little raw, and he needs to refine some things at the NFL level. But if he is able to be developed, which would be the hope, imagine him from the Eagles' perspective in the Jahad Campbell / this Nolan Smith role. Not saying they're the same type of players, but that role really more Nolan Smith than Campbell, because Campbell does play some traditional off-ball linebacker as well. I could see them going that route.
Definitely.
Especially if they go defensive back at 12, which is my guess. So
no, nobody from UMass will get drafted. Scott, Chiefs are going to trade back. Certainly possible. Chiefs could even move up. Chiefs could move up to try and get a pass rusher. I wouldn't be surprised if they drop back a little bit to secure an offensive lineman. That's certainly an option. So they always trade back. All right, here we go from Dan.
I saw this question. I'm excited for this one.
Outside of Fernando, are there any future franchise quarterbacks in this draft potentially? By the way, we're at T-3 minutes. So what do you think? I'll let you take this one.
So, again, I think we agree Fernando's a guy that's going to get a second contract. And by second contract, that basically means he will last in the league for at least 5+ years, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but in today's time, that means something. I don't see Ty Simpson as a guy long-term that is going to be a starter in this league and have a lot of success in terms of a starter. Could he be a backup and, be one of these guys that makes nice money? Yes. The only other guy that I see maybe being a franchise-level quarterback is Garrett Nussmeier. I don't know if it will hit. There were some injury situations that happened this year. At the beginning of the year, people were talking about it being a first-round, maybe even top 5 overall pick. I think oblique issues and some other items kind of derailed the season to not have the year that he was hoping for, but I could see it's the right team. They pick him day 2, and he gets in the right situation. He could be a guy that could be someone who could be in this league and be a starter for, a second contract.
Nussmeier would probably be the other guy I would pick. Higher chance he busts out than a Simpson. Not as safe, but the ceiling is certainly higher. Cole Payton is an interesting name. Lefty slinger out of North Dakota State. Really good athlete. Racked up close to 900 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns on the ground. 2,700 yards, 16 touchdowns, 4 picks. Had really impressive big time throw percentage of 11.3 with only 2% of turnover worthy plays. Again, the competition level is, FCS. It is what it is.
And we've seen,
but just a name to consider.
Well, and you got to remember, North Dakota State does have a history of getting first-round quarterbacks. Again, you obviously saw Carson Wentz, what he was able to do, especially during that rookie contract era, a guy who's still in this league. And then, Trey Lance, who, though you could say is a bust relative to where he was picked, but was still a guy that, was a first-round talent. So definitely a school that has the pedigree for it.
Drew Aller is an interesting name too. Big time bust potential. He really struggled in big games, but the physical tools are there. They've always been there. What prop bets are we feeling? I'm actually trying to look some up right now. Man, I don't know. Rams first drafted position wide receiver -105. That's not bad. Number 13 pick Mekhi Lemon plus 250.
Okay.
That one's not bad. Let me try to find a couple more. Let's check out.
I would say it is officially 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain, 5
Ooh,
Pacific.
all right, hold on. You know what that means? We gotta get the graphic. Well, are they officially on the clock?
They're not officially on the clock, but they will be here shortly. So,
how did Anthony get in? Okay, never mind.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's brought to you by DraftKings. We love DraftKings over here. Let's see.
We want okay. We're getting some demand / some highly asked for the graphic.
Oh, hang tight. Oh my gosh, this is so difficult. There we go.
Yeah, guys, technology is a thing.
I'm learning.
Yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy the pre-show of the draft. So thank you for those who were able to be there.
Bang.
And here we go.
The Raiders. Actually, I don't think they're technically on the clock yet, but we're going to throw it up. I already answered this one. Nobody from UMass is getting
No, but we got a good question though. Does Fernando automatically be the pick, or will there be some delay?
How wild would it be as if they go in a different direction and we have like a real life draft day, Bo Callahan slide down the draft? Oh, he wouldn't get past the Jets, right, Mitch? But the teams always kind of sweat the clock just for the theatrics of it.
He's not going to probably go till about the 4 to 5 minute mark is my guess. Because again, the Raiders do want to see, is there someone crazy to give them so much compensation that you just can't say no to it? But my guess is it will be on the quicker side.
The Goat Hippo makes a good point here too. It does take a couple minutes for them to get the card over, and then Goodell's got to walk through his whole little area. He's up at the podium now. Looks like he's getting some booze. And introducing the draft. So we're about to get running here.
I would say, yeah, Jared, let's get that big board up.
Great shout, Goat Hippo. Great shout.
So again, I think they're not officially on. Goodell's doing his, intro speech that if you've seen the draft before, he does this at every city. He does this when it was in New York previously.
Who's that on there? TJ Watt and Cam Hayward?
Looks like TJ Watt and Hayward basically hyping up Pittsburgh right now. Like, got the terrible towels out, trying to just get the hometown folks excited, and then all the folks who, travel to Pittsburgh, whether that be nationally or internationally, because we do know that this thing has become an international destination for folks, especially in the UK and in Europe. So I think Goodell just wants to give them their thanks and give himself his platform to talk about whatever he's talking about, because it's on mute, so we don't know.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the fact that the draft travels now? Are you a fan of that? Do you wish it was still in Radio City Music Hall?
There was something special as a kid, watching the draft, knowing every year, especially back then, it was Paul Tagliabue who was the commissioner, who was doing this when I at least first started watching it. There was something cool about that, and that was the place. Kind of like how, every January 1st, at about, 2-3 o'clock, you're watching the Rose Bowl. It's always in Pasadena. There's something cool about that. But I would say, given what the NFL's wanted to do over these last couple of years, and trying to expand the game, especially internationally,
yeah,
it gives them this opportunity to show off these cities. I know, again, it was in Dallas a few years ago. I had some people that went there, had a great time doing it. They were in Green Bay last year, Pittsburgh this year. It gets to show all the cities. And I think that from an NFL perspective, it's a good PR move. It's a good opportunity that if you don't want to go somewhere for a game because the tickets are too expensive or it's too hard, or hey, maybe it's probably just cheaper on a Thursday than flying in on a Saturday or Sunday, then it gives you an opportunity to at least go there and get this communal aspect.
Yeah, and we know they do the whole Fan Fest deal, and it's a lot of fun. They do some cool stuff. You just see how many people are packed in here. Not for me personally. I prefer to watch it from the comfort of my own home, but definitely a cool experience.
Exactly, and we had all the bachelorette parties being ruined in Nashville. I want to say it was 22-ish. 23, whatever that was.
Something like that.
Something post-COVID, whatever year that was.
Yeah, so can you trade franchise tag players at this time? So we talked briefly about Pickens earlier. While we're waiting for this thing to officially get underway, we can revisit that conversation. So once the tender is officially signed, he can be traded. So again, there was some rumors that he had already that he went ahead and signed it. Todd Archer said, not yet. And then some NFL Network guys kind of corroborated that and said, no, as of this moment, it hasn't been signed, but the expectation is he will. So again, I think we'll find out pretty quickly. If the Cowboys are planning on moving Pickens, they're taking a receiver tonight. And I think there's a decent chance they trade up to do it. because I love Mekhi Lemon. I don't think he's a great fit with CeeDee Lamb because you want both those guys in the slot.
I would agree, yeah.
Tyson and Tate are both guys who are outside guys, probably more, X maybe Z receivers.
I'm going to pause you right here. The Raiders are officially
on the clock, and we are underway. Thank you, Goat Hippo, for the chat. So yeah, I mean, you can absolutely trade him. Part of me thinks they should call up the Raiders and see, hey, you're drafting Mendoza. Do you want an elite level receiver to come be on the team with him? See if you can maybe do a Crosby swap. He's a real quarterback like Quincy Carter.
Georgia legend. You know what? We can make fun of Quincy Carter all we want to, but that man was the first quarterback in the post-Troy Aikman era to get the Cowboys to the playoffs.
Yep.
It was a very not great game. The Carolina Panthers, who would go on to lose the Super Bowl to your Pats, Francis, would beat the Cowboys, but he did make it to the playoffs.
Some other teams that could be of interest, some other teams that have needs at receiver, could maybe be the Saints.
No.
Could be a team that maybe would be interested.
Kansas City has 2 first-round picks, so you would be curious.
Maybe Kansas City. I don't think he's fetching a first.
I don't think he is, but again, you got to ask the question in terms of if you're the Cowboys at least, and knowing that, hey, Rashee Rice has got some issues. Do we really want to extend him long term? And maybe we'd rather just go with a guy like Pickens. Again, just throw it out.
Tennessee.
Tennessee probably not throwing out number 4.
Philly, but you're not trading him in the division. No. Same with Washington.
And the Giants potentially because they're looking for number 2, but yeah, you're not trading him in the
Panthers, Falcons, maybe.
Yeah, I think at this point something is going on. Whether that just be Mulugeta is just saying to Pickens, "Hey, be quiet." I saw what happened with Micah last year, and yes, Micah got his money, but it took a lot to get that from an emotional standpoint.
Yeah.
And PR standpoint to sign it, or again, maybe there is something that is happening. Because again, really at this point, there's probably 3 or 4 mega agents. Mulugeta is one of them.
Yeah. So, what's he demanding in this market without a contract? I mean, I think he just wants security, and the Cowboys aren't giving it to him right now. I think they want him to do it again and prove that, the concerns in Pittsburgh are behind him, and it's not something that they need to worry about.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of more off-field and maturity issues is what I've heard rumors about. I know I was listening to a radio station here in the Dallas area, and Brad Sham, who's the play-by-play voice for the Cowboys, he brought up an interesting point. So, for those of you not familiar, the Cowboys did have a player who did pass away last year. He did this during the bye week, and the first game they played, ironically, was in Las Vegas, who is now on the clock. And for those who don't know, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens both did not play the first series. The rumors was because they were out of curfew and they were doing things they weren't supposed to do, which is not good in general. We do know that is a thing with these professional athletes. None of these guys are choir boys. But the point he brought up was like, hey, your teammate passed away. If you're going to be serious, you would think it's now, and you're still acting a fool.
Yeah.
So, besides, you could be late to some meetings and, some things that, you and I can't do because we'd be fired because we're not that talented. But a guy like that can get away with. But even in a moment of, solidarity, he's still doing this stuff. Do you as an NFL franchise want to pay this guy probably as minimum $33 million a year? But he could be wanting more. Because Jackson, Fifth, and Jigba making, 42 on average now?
Yeah.
Over 40? And you can make an argument that Pickens was.
I think he deserves it from an on-field perspective.
From an on-field perspective, so I think it's just the Cowboys knowing that there are some issues. They don't know if they love him, the person, enough to want to pay him that money versus a guy that's like Micah, where obviously they didn't pay Micah that money, but we're more open to paying Micah top of the level money.
Okay, sorry, Anthony, I'm going to kick you out of the studio again. Can you send him the link to the YouTube?
Yeah, I think I may have sent the wrong one, so I can work on that.
All right. Could the Chiefs trade Rashee Rice for some picks in this draft? I think it's certainly possible. It's not something that heard a rumor about, but there was some about Nico Collins. Teams were checking in on him. So, I mean, Rice obviously has his own issues. I don't think you would get the full return based on the talent, but never say never. The pick is officially in. They're showing Drew Bledsoe highlights on YouTube. I kind of got some Jared Goff vibes from Mendoza myself, but
interesting. Okay. No.
Well, once the pick is officially announced, we can go to the new graphic, guys. Huh? Okay. So we're just waiting on Goodell to get to the podium and make it official here. But obviously all signs point to Fernando Mendoza. Will he be corrupted by Vegas? Possibly. We got our resident Jets fan, Mitch, please Arvell Reese. Josh has a hot take on that, which we'll save in just a second. But here comes Mr. Goodell to the podium.
Let's see.
I don't know why we're watching with anticipation. We know what it's going to be. All right, it's official. New graphic. Fernando Mendoza, a member of the Las Vegas Raiders.
He is too much of a choir boy for that, but yes, he is officially a Raider.
So we got some all 22 footage here. We are the all 22 highlights YouTube channel, so had to show some of these highlights that we clipped. All right, so let's talk about Mendoza a bit as a draft prospect.
Yeah, let's do it.
So give me your 2 cents.
So obviously, again, this guy won the Heisman. This guy did something that no one has ever done before. He got Indiana a national championship. That right there is pretty impressive. I think until right this second, you want to know who the highest drafted Indiana quarterback is of all time prior to this?
Who is it?
Babe Laufenberg.
Oh, Babe.
Yeah, Babe Laufenberg, for those of you familiar with the Cowboys and their greater broadcasting radio network. So, again, he's a guy that, from a on-field perspective, definitely he's QB1. He is the captain. He's the guy that's going to get you there. I would say strength-wise, not a great runner, but he's a guy that is capable of attempting to escape and get you a couple of yards. I think an awkward giraffe or something to that extent was what I think Kirby and Fowler called him against Bama was the phrasing. But, accurate guy. I remember hearing about it last year at Cal being nothing special. But she's like, oh, this guy's like not bad for a Cal quarterback. Transfers over to Indiana with Cignetti, able to, get into that system, which worked at James Madison. Obviously elevated 2 years ago now with Indiana getting to the playoffs the first time. Now going, this past year, undefeated, absolutely steamrolling, great programs. My Bama, Oregon. Sorry about that, Scott.
Alex went to Oregon.
Whatever. He liked Oregon enough to I know he did, but he has a soft spot for them. I know he's here right now. That's why I'm saying that. Obviously able to beat Miami as well, beat Ohio State. And again, we're going to be talking a lot about Ohio State. So the fact that he's able to do all this, I would say more accurate than throw power is probably what he's going to be better at.
Yep.
Again, honestly, the fact that him and Cousins are in the same room kind of give me a similar vibe in terms of the type of player I think he can be. And that's not a diss of Mendoza. At his peak, Cousins was in that top 15, maybe inside the top 10 at some point. So I think that he's a guy that, he's going to have great weapons around him in Vegas. He's going to have Brock Bowers. He's going to have a good Genty in the run game. They could still use some more weapons to establish themselves, either that be through the draft or guys that they've drafted the last couple of years. But given, if he gets the right coaching and the right, offensive line play, which I hate saying that, I think he has a chance to be, within the top 10 best quarterbacks at his peak.
Yeah, Daniel had asked, is Mendoza being inflated by a team that was built around him more so than his physical ability, or is it clear that he's got the metrics to be a true NFL franchise quarterback? full disclosure, when I watched his summer film at Cal, I said that this guy's my favorite quarterback in the class. I always thought he had the physical tools. I think his mental processing is on a very high level. I think the offense definitely helped, but the reality is he might not be an Aaron Rodgers who's going to put the team on his back and make some ridiculous plays.
I will say the pick is in for the Jets.
The pick is in for the Jets.
So before we get into it, I'm going to go with David Bailey, defensive end out of Texas Tech is my pick. Jared, who do you think they're going to be going with? Unless you've already got spoiled. If you have, that is okay.
I haven't. It's interesting. The national media has been all Bailey. The New York media has been Reese. I'm going to go with the local guys and say it's going to be Reese.
Again, could totally see it. I would not go that way personally, but we're about to find out here momentarily.
Well, you told me maybe a week or so ago that you were getting Vernon Golston vibes from Arvell Reese.
And again, I know.
Other than the Ohio State thing, do you care to explain yourself?
I think it's just a situation where a guy, an edge rusher, again, doesn't help that he was at Ohio State and doesn't help that he is potentially going to go to the Jets. Arvell Reese is a freak in a physical sense. I think there's no denying that. But does he do anything well enough?
Oh, here comes Goodell. So we'll have our answer here. It's David Bailey. David Bailey. So sorry to our friend Mitch. I know he really wanted Arvell Reese. But Bailey, that's who you thought they should go with. That's who they do go with. He's obviously the more ready-made pass rusher. So go ahead and tell us a bit about the newest New York Jet, Mr. David Bailey.
Yeah, we will start with him. So with David Bailey, originally started at Stanford. And as we all know now in the college football realm, you're going to hear me potentially talk about this more tonight. He transferred. What a coincidence. But this time he went somewhere a little bit unique in theory, which is going to Texas Tech. For those of you who do not know, Texas Tech has gotten a lot of money recently from mega donor Cody Campbell, brought in a lot of great defensive linemen. You're going to see them drafted here this weekend. Bailey probably the only one going tonight, but you're going to see two guys, probably Lee Hunter and Romello Height, go tomorrow is my guess. And he's a guy that every year at the collegiate level has increased his sack reduction, which is something that if you're the Jets, you're excited about that. I think he went from being in the 7 to 8 range 2 years ago now to being in that, I think it's 14 and a half he had last year. Do you have the exact stat in front of you?
I have the PFF stats. He had,
I know
they credit him with 15 sacks
so
and a 21.6% pass rush win rate,
so
which is very high.
If anybody in this draft is going to be a guy who's going to be a consistent 10 sack guy, it's David Bailey. Again, probably best position is that more traditional 4-3 edge, in my opinion, but he can't have enough flexibility to where he can play some outside rush in terms of a 3-4 style OLB in terms of passing situation. Does have the ability as well to play the run, so he's not going to be this pass rush specialist. Again, also got to say, if you're getting into Stanford, even if as an athlete, you got to at least have a good head on you, which is going to be a good thing. And I think that from the Jets' perspective, they needed somebody who can make an impact this year, not play the potential game. Last year was rough. I think it was a lot rougher than what they were hoping. That defense needed help, and I think Bailey's going to provide that to them.
Yeah, obviously a really strong pass rusher. Did some incredible things here that we're seeing on film. He's winning with speed. He's winning with power. Maybe some concerns about how he's going to defend the run in the long term. But all in all, just a really, really talented pass rusher. I know, Mitch, you wanted Arvell Reese. The ceiling might have been a little higher.
And it might. And I'm going to say this. There's plenty of scenarios where we look back in 5 years and I have egg in my face, and that is fine. But in my opinion, where the Jets are right now, you cannot play with potential.
I hope we didn't just draft Will McDonald after he ate 10 Whoppers. I think he's a little thicker than McDonald. McDonald had a lot of juice. I think Bailey's a little more polished than what McDonald was coming out. Is he going to get double-digit sacks as a rookie? Probably not. That's really hard to do. But if anyone's going to, it's probably going to be David Bailey. Look, Aaron Glenn he's on the hot seat. He's got to win games now. So
because if he doesn't, Aaron Glenn will be somebody's defensive coordinator in 2027.
That's right. All right. With that in mind, we have the Cardinals on the clock. Their pick is not in, which leads me to believe there's a possibility that this is getting traded.
Possible for a trader. They may not know.
They may not know.
They may be trying to trade to the last minute and finally just like.
I think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to get out of this spot. We talked earlier on about, all the reports that Arizona did not want to stick at 3. They wanted to get out. It'll be interesting if they do pick that. Again, all the smoke was around Jeremiah Love. You and I don't necessarily buy that.
I don't
buy that rumor, buy that fit. So if someone's coming up, again, I think you look at the Saints and maybe you look at the Chiefs as a team who might try to come up for Arvell Reese here.
I say if they're coming up for someone, it's Arvell Reese.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and flash my big board across the screen here. Actually, not yet. I need to add the new names here.
Pick is in though. So
okay, the pick is in, so they're not bailing. So we'll find out if this is indeed Jeremiah Love or if we were getting a bit hoodwinked here.
So I guess, Jared, I'll start with me while you're doing some typing here, some tech-wise. I think they're going to go with Arvell Reese. I think that, again, of anybody in this draft, he has the potential to be that Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, TJ Watt level type of pass rusher. I think that if you want to start him at an off-ball or at a weak side style linebacker, on first and second down, move him down a little bit, he can be a chess piece. Again, I know we've seen the Cardinals, different regimes, but have like the idea of a chess piece. So I'm going to go with Arvell Reese, defensive end / outside linebacker, Ohio State here with number 3 of the Cardinals.
I think that makes the most sense. Obviously, the smoke's been on Love. I wouldn't be surprised to see an offensive lineman here. We could have our first big reach, and if they want to go with a pure left tackle, maybe it's a Monroe Freeling. Maybe they try and flip Spencer Fano back to the left side. He has experience on both sides. He was the left tackle his sophomore year, played right tackle at Utah this past year. Caden Proctor from Alabama.
Yeah, Caden's pure left. You may not like his in terms of against speed rushers. We can talk with that.
But you know what? When he's on and you just watch the highlights, you're going to be like, oh my God, like this dude's a stud. It's the inconsistencies, right? And if they feel like they can sort that out, you're obviously getting a super talented player.
Plus,
but here comes Goodell.
Of all offensive linemen, the most all combined rushing and receiving yards this year, Caden Proctor.
All right, let's see. They did go Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love,
okay.
Running back, Notre Dame goes number 3 to the Cardinals.
I am surprised. I don't know if I should be, but I am.
So I guess the question is, you had him at number 2 on your overall big board. Is that correct?
I did.
So which means for those of you who aren't as familiar with big boards, that means in theory they got value, according to you.
Yeah.
But the question is it a bit of a reach to go with Love when there were potentially other needs available, even though by most consensus, Love would be considered in that quote blue chip category. And honestly, this is for sure the highest a running back has gone. Zeke went 4.
Zeke went 4,
but
Saquon went 2, right? Did Saquon go 2? I'm going to check that.
But point is, a running back going 3 is rare. So if somebody's picking a running back at 3, they must really, no pun intended, love him. But if there is a reason for a guy to go 3, especially in a weird draft like this, it would be him.
Saquon went 2 in 2018.
Okay, so the highest rated is Saquon. Yeah, no, we're seeing some of the highlights here right now. I mean, the guy has speed. I would not call him power to where it's going to be a Derrick Henry style, but he does have enough to where if he needs to truck somebody, he's able to go inside and do that. Really can do it all. He can pass block, which again, not sexy, but something that's important at the NFL level. Does have the ability to catch balls, and
he's a really good receiver. And some of these highlights, I was doing something else, so I don't know if it showed it yet, but you see him lining up out in the slot and really running routes, tracking the ball over his shoulder. He's a weapon. He's incredibly dynamic. I kind of view him as if Jahmyr Gibbs were 6 feet tall. I don't think he sees it quite the same as like a Bijan Robinson, but I think he's a little more explosive of an athlete. But that's the level of running back we're talking about. So for you fantasy football players out there,
this is the guy.
This is the guy.
Yeah, this
is the guy.
Yeah, if you last year wanted to insert rookie running back because whatever you wanted, Genty, Amari, and Hampton, Jeremiah Love is the guy you're going to pick in the first round this year if you want that rookie. Got to go off. And I think we have a couple of questions. How old is James Conner? I know he's in his early 30s.
Yeah, I think James. Oh, so here he is out of the slot. Speaking of, James Conner was again never stopping you from drafting Love. I think his roster spot might be in jeopardy actually because of the Tyler Algier edition. And Algier played with Robinson. We just talked about Love being a Robinson-esque player, a Gibbs-esque player, who again paired up with Montgomery.
And you also got to remember too that Love did have a backfield mate last year, so he is used to not having to be the true bell cow, which again is the common thing in the NFL these days. Very rarely are you truly RB1, and it seems like he's going to be in a situation where he's going to be able to save some of that juice for later in games, later in the season, and won't get burned out potentially too early on. So again, exciting pick for Arizona. They've got a lot of toys they get to play with. The question is, are they just going to have the quarterback and offensive line play to let those toys, go full speed?
Right.
Because between, now Love, you got Trey McBride, who's arguably, maybe the best tight end in football. You can make an argument in terms of offensively as a pass catcher and route runner. You got Maserati Marv, who, again, disappointed in terms of where he was picked, but if he's able to finally get it together, was about as an elite receiver prospect coming out as there has been. Michael Wilson also had a nice year last year coming on as wide receiver 2 for them. So, things could be on the up and up in Arizona, like we talked about earlier, for those who are able to join. If they are able to maybe come back in and get a Ty Simpson, who would not start week 1, most likely, would be Brissett. But if that happens, they have a young nucleus on offense, and that could be something exciting out there in the desert. So we got the Titans now. And
Their pick is in.
The pick is already in.
So I think, again, this is another potential spot for Reese or his teammate, Sonny Styles has gotten a ton of smoke over the past 48 hours. Just about every big mock draft I've seen has had Sonny Styles here to Tennessee. I think Love would have been an option for them had he been available, but that's not the case.
I think at this point, they wouldn't go a tackle, wouldn't go any of these receivers there. It would be someone defensive is my guess. I know on your big board, I think Caleb Downs is still the best available player, but doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for them. So I agree. It's probably one of the Ohio State linebackers. It's just going to be a question of, do they want the more traditional off-ball linebacker in Styles, or do they want a guy who could be a little bit more pass rushing ability in Reese?
Yeah. And if Reese keeps falling, this gets really interesting, because do the Giants go ahead and take him even though they've got Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and they just drafted Abdul Carter last year at 3?
Well, you got to remember.
But you could play him off ball. Does a team try to come up and get Reese, a team like New Orleans, a team like Dallas, a team like Kansas City, who wants to maybe use him more as a pass rusher? But here the pick is in.
Goodell's walking up to the stage.
This is moving quick.
I was going to say, this is a change. Like I said, they changed it to where we were a half hour in, maybe 20 minutes, and we already got 4 picks. That's pretty incredible.
Carnell Tate.
Wow.
Okay.
So first, I think.
All right, hang on.
Holy wow pick of the So we were thinking
Whoa.
Ohio State. I don't think either one of us, or really anybody else nationally that I saw, was thinking they would go Carnell Tate there.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my
I'll talk
my
about
Carnell
it.
Tate media
Carnell
here.
Tate, again, depending on who you were looking at, some had him as wide receiver 1. Some had, usually he was no worse than wide receiver 3, according to most consensus big boards. The interesting thing with Carnell Tate is that you can make the argument that of all the years playing at Ohio State, he was never wide receiver 1 on his own team.
Yeah.
Again, last year playing with Jeremiah Smith, who could be a top 5 pick. We're going to start showing the tape here for Tate again. And a guy that, really to me, I would call more of a balanced guy. He can do a little bit of everything. Not going to be an incredible burner. Has good hands, but I would say non-elite separation. But I think that the joke that I saw from somebody was could be Jordan Addison if Jordan Addison had a better driving record. And that's not a bad thing, because Jordan Addison has had a nice NFL career to this point. I would say this is the first real reach, of this draft, and maybe what might end up being this whole first round.
Well, interestingly enough, we talked about George Pickens. Tate's got some Pickens to his game. He's not a burner necessarily, but he averaged over 17 yards a reception, I believe, because he's a savvy. Wow. The Giants pick is already in.
Okay, this is quick, guys.
And Mitch said it. They have a heck of a decision to make.
Well, they made it.
They made it. It's someone from Ohio State, in my opinion. It's Arvell Reese. It's Caleb Downs. There's an outside shot that Carnell Tate going now. If they want Jordan Tyson, they're going to have to take him now.
Yeah,
he's not getting past 9.
Most likely not now. I would agree that if you are a fan of your team needing a receiver, Tate going forward does not help. Jordan Tyson now is the belle of the ball. Again, he's had some injury issues, but yeah, this is gonna be very interesting here. But we're going back to Tate. Again, he does everything well. I don't know if he excels at necessarily one thing. I would probably say maybe he's route running, because again, I don't think he's a great burner, but he gets open. And again, with Tennessee right now, obviously they drafted Cam Ward last year, number 1 out of Miami. They've had some weapons, and I know that they got Wan'Dale Robinson this offseason. So you're going to have a guy that can start at wide receiver 1. I'm not saying that you want Robinson as your long-term wide receiver 1, but if you got him, you still have Calvin Ridley there. So Tate is not going to be forced to have to be wide receiver 1 immediately. But I think, again, in the right offense, and especially if him and Ward are able to get some good chemistry together, then, he could be a guy that's going to be a productive receiver in this league for years to come.
Yeah, definitely helpful to Ward to get a guy like Tate in. It's flavors of ice cream. I had the receivers on my big board. I think they were like 11, 12, 13.
Yeah, they were
and I happen to have Tate the third. But if you're looking for a bigger bodied outside guy who could take the top off the defense, I think Jordan Tyson's more your kind of underneath guy. I think that Tate is going to be your your deep threat. Here was one of the craziest stats. He caught almost 86% of contested balls thrown to him, which is an incredibly high number.
Yeah,
guess how many drops he had this year? 0.
I was going to say 1. Just
0. No drops this year. 51 catches on 66 targets. Again, surprising. I thought Tennessee was going to go defense for sure. And now the onus is on the Giants. So, I think the Arvell Reese slide probably stops here. But
you would think, but again, like I was saying,
Harbaugh called Caleb Downs a future Hall of Famer.
And again, if there's somebody that I'd have bet money on who would be a future Hall of Famer,
it would be Caleb Downs. Because Caleb Downs is gonna compete for all pros the minute he walks into an NFL training camp.
He could be the smartest guy in the locker room.
100%. The amount of responsibility he had at Alabama as a freshman before he transferred to Ohio State was ridiculous. And people want to look at him and say, well, he's a box safety because, this is how he was deployed. He was a nickel, this and that. He was a free safety the majority of the time at Bama. Yeah. And the responsibility he was given by Nick Saban who does not like freshmen.
No, he got
Says a lot about
he
Caleb
got a little
Downs.
nicer as a freshman, but again, the type of people that are starting as freshmen at Alabama at that point, especially with Nick Saban, the last guy I knew was a guy named Minka Fitzpatrick, who was a number one, who was a first round pick.
Yeah. But before we get too deep into the weeds on Caleb Downs, we're at a commercial break right now. We'll see where the pick is at. We're just going to reset the big board here. So as these are coming across, the number next to the name is obviously their spot on my overall big board. So again, very defense heavy. Caleb Downs, to me, best player in the draft. Reese and Styles both right up there. I think all three Ohio State defenders are legitimate options for the Giants. As a Cowboys fan, I'm hoping they don't take any of them.
Again, Francis Mauigoa is also an option.
Mauigoa is an option.
They busted on another former Bama guy, Evan Neal, and could definitely use a right tackle. So if you want offensive line, which we know that Harbaugh is a trenches guy, that could be an option there too, especially if they don't think he's going to get there at 10. So
yeah.
As an outside guy, again, I agree. I think they're going to go defense. We are seeing some potential news. Are we getting some trades?
Is there a trade action here?
Trade action here that we have not come across my Twitter sphere.
Who's trading the pick, Mitch?
Yeah, Mitch, what are you seeing? Because right now we're trying to do talk to you guys, the people.
It's got to be Cleveland moving out because it says the Giants pick is in on TV, unless that's a lie.
Which we know ESPN lies all the time. So I'm trying to see here. It has not come across anything on.
You're not seeing anything yet. Browns trade to Kansas City. So here's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing the Giants did not take Arvell Reese, and Kansas City's coming up to get him.
That I would agree. That is my guess as well.
Wait, hold on. I got to use. Ready for this, boys?
Let's go.
Da-na-na, da-na-na. No, that's the Sports Center one. I don't know what the trade jingle is.
But either way. Yeah, my guess is that would mean.
When you have the details on that, if you could let us know, guys, that'd be awesome. Goodell's announcing the Giants pick. And we've got.
I'll go Sonny Styles is my guess.
Oh, it looks like they're doing something with the something with the fans. So we'll see what it is here in just a second.
But I would agree though. I think that if Kansas City's making a move, that would mean probably not Reese. My guess is that would mean some combination.
I think Downs is coming off the board.
It could be Downs, could be Styles, it could be Mallory.
Could be Tyson. But my gut's telling me Downs. And maybe it's because I would do things to get Downs in a Dallas uniform. There's just too many minefields.
Yeah, unless the other question is, does Kansas City move up because they want Jordan Tyson? That'd be
maybe, and it would be to jump Washington to do it. Kansas City could also come up for Downs if he's not the pick here. Let's see.
The pick is
Arvell Reese.
It is Arvell Reese. So okay,
Giants.
So yeah, Giants.
Nelly.
Okay, so Giants go with Arvell Reese again, the guy we probably talked the most about to this point. And again, he's going to be a chess piece. And I think with him going there, this signals a couple of potential things. Number one, I think he starts out as more as a off-ballish linebacker for today.
Browns get 974 and 148. I got to update that on my end here. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I think this also, what I'm going to ask if you're a Giants fan is, Kayvon Thibodeau, what does that mean for your long-term future? Because does that mean that they're like, hey, it's been real, it's been fun, but it wasn't real fun, and we expect Reese to be a new long-term pass rusher along with Carter. Again, for however long Brian Burns still has left, I think he still has a good 2 to 4 years of elite capabilities left. But Harbaugh he wants pieces, and I think we've known about Baltimore. They were known for those defenses. He's got himself a stud. Again, I think he has some things to potentially work on, especially if he's going to be more off ball than as a rusher. But imagine this, especially now that Lawrence is gone. You got, it's 3rd and long. You got Carter, you got Burns, you got Thibodeau, and now you have Reese coming after you.
Scary.
That's scary.
Scary hours.
Yeah, that's something where, who do you double?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, one of those other guys could easily beat you. So I think the Giants are going to be hoping. I know they also did not sign their middle linebacker, Bobby Okereke. He did not get re-signed. So I think they did make some kind of move in free agency. I will not swear who that was, but I could see Reese at least starting off on 1st and 2nd down as more off ball, but then having that ability for them to come in and pass rush when needed, which I think was probably going to be his best role in the NFL, in my opinion. I think he's a little too small to be a full-time pass rusher. So,
yeah.
Imagine Micah Parsons, for those of you who are Cowboys fans, year 1 especially. That's what I imagine Reese will probably be for the Giants, at least next year.
Well, I think the scary thing is Reese has said, he doesn't really even know what he's doing as a pass rusher yet. He's just kind of self-taught. And I still like him more starting kind of like a will backer and just let him run and get the ball. He's smart. He's physical. He can set the edge like a guy much bigger than his, what is he, 240-ish pounds?
Yeah, 240-ish, give or take. Probably 237, 243.
241 is what he measured at. So I don't think he's a full-time edge, but he can moonlight in that role. Really versatile defender. Giants got better with that pick. It's one of those things where you just take him and then you figure it out later.
Yeah. And again, I think when you're drafting, you're drafting not just for next year, but for the next 3 to 5 years. And I think even if Reese doesn't hit his full, potential, I think he will be a quality player in this league. And I think, the Giants are better on defense. Which as a Cowboys fan sucks, but also as a Cowboys fan perspective, the 2 guys you were wanting, which is Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs, are still on the board.
Yeah, but there's a really good chance they could come off the board in the next 2 picks, both of them.
Again,
Kansas City moved up, and Mitch just said this has to be Delane or Downs. I think Downs makes more sense. I don't think you're jumping Washington to get Delane.
Yeah, I would
say Downs makes sense. Tyson makes some sense if you were worried about.
I think Tyson makes more sense. I'm not saying that I would go Downs because, again, I think Downs
is the best player in the draft.
He's a guy. I'm not saying he's going to be Tyrann Mathieu for the Chiefs, what Downs would be, but he could be in that role. They did lose a lot of secondary players. Kansas City could say, we're just getting the best guy. Again, the Eagles had a guy named Brian Dawkins once upon a time that Andy Reid had. And again, I'm not saying Caleb Downs is the exact type of player that Dawkins had, but Reid does appreciate a good safety.
And they lost Brian Cook in the offseason.
So could absolutely see them doing this. But again, I think from a Cowboys perspective, I'm going to hope this is Tyson, just so that way.
You know what? If it's Downs, on the bright side, he's not going to be in the NFC East. It means Washington isn't going to get him, and it means that the Giants aren't going to double up on Ohio State guys and get Arvell Reese and Caleb Downs. But here comes Goodell. Whew.
Go.
Oh, wow. Good call, Mitch. Mansour Delane shows what I know.
Okay, this is a guy that you and I both thought could slide the 12 to the Cowboys. Obviously, the Chiefs had him much higher than, when I say some in terms of the media scouts we're talking about, but they obviously found their guy. We talked about it. They lost a lot of secondary. They got the guy that was probably the most consistently ranked number 1 corner, and a guy that, again, came from Virginia Tech, went to LSU last year. We know, again, LSU just could be an argument for DBU with what they're able to produce year in, year out. Guy that can play a lot of, good man, which is something that I believe Kansas City likes to do a decent amount, especially with some of the pass rushers they have with your Chris Jones, your Karl Loftus, and others, etc. So I think they made a good pick. And I think that they saw, this year we need to capitalize on this run we have with Mahomes, with Kelsey, with some of these aging vets as much as we can. So let's hope that, again, we're not saying Mansour will land like the same impact that Trent McDuffie did as a rookie, but an impact that's similar-ish to it. Again, different player. But.
Yeah, and again, they lost a lot of secondary pieces. Delane is very versatile. Sticky in man coverage, really good eyes in zone. You see him coming across here to make the interception against Clemson.
K. Klubnik probably going to get drafted at some point here. This probably day 3 guy, but
But he can do everything. I'm going to pull up the PFF stats for you guys here because I thought these numbers were pretty ridiculous. And actually, my player comparison for Delane is Trent McDuffie.
And you're also going to just see here, he just made a great tackle of an open field. So again,
yeah, he's a dog. He's a dog.
He's not going to be one of these guys that I don't want to tackle because I'm a quarter.
All year, on 35 targets, he gave up 14 receptions for 165 yards, a passer rating against him of 31.3, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Passes were completed at only a 40% rate, and he forced 11 incompletions. Just insane numbers. And then he's not the biggest guy. He's not the most athletic, or at least we thought. Then he goes out and he runs a 4.38 at his pro day.
Yeah.
You could probably add 0.5 of a second to that and say, okay, maybe it was closer to a mid 4.4. That's still plenty fast.
That's fast enough.
That's plenty fast.
And we will say that the Commanders pick is in. So again, things are moving quick tonight, guys. We are not even an hour in. And we're going to almost be a pick 8 here by 50 at whatever time zone you're in. Again, gotta love that from a fan perspective as well. We love talking draft, but we hate waiting for picks. So things get interesting here, I think, with Washington. I think we can agree with that. They have a lot of directions they can go. And I know I was seeing some smoke at some point with Jeremiah Love. Obviously, not going to happen. He has been drafted by the Cardinals. I've seen Carnell Tate will not obviously be happening because he was drafted by the Tennessee Titans. So where do they go here? Because they got some good players that are on the board. They're probably pretty excited. They obviously, put in their selection here pretty quick. And
so I think if it's not Jordan Tyson, it's one of the Ohio State defenders. It's Downs or Styles.
And we keep saying that, but there's a reason why we are saying
there's that they're among the best players in the class. We know Dan Quinn's a defense guy. It looks like Goodell is coming to announce the pick here.
I'm going to personally guess.
Or are they going to commercial? It's one of the two.
No, I think they're coming in. Looks like they're just zooming in on the crowd, and there's a lot of people there, guys. Looks like a festival. Looks like
all right. Here he comes.
I'm going to guess Sonny Styles to replace Bobby Wagner, who departed, but could easily see them going down. Could also Tyson and get that wide receiver 2 option, Scary Terry. Looks like we got a special announcer here. Jerome Bettis?
Yeah, Jerome Bettis, and I'm not sure.
I'm not sure why Jerome Bettis is up here for the Commanders, but apparently he is. Unless he played there right at the end, but I don't think he did. I think he was a Steeler the whole time. So unless he just a Pittsburgh something, maybe Lynn Swan might be the other guy. I think it is Lynn Swan. Because we're talking about Jerome Bettis. His son is at Notre Dame right now, so it could be getting picked here in a couple of years. He's on
Makes
the same
me feel old.
On the same team as Larry Fitzgerald's kid.
Oh my gosh!
Look up who Notre Dame has, and a bunch of the Nepo kids on there. And I don't mean that in a bad way. There's a lot of
Jermichael Finley's kid going there too.
Finley's kid is there, yeah. Former Packer and Longhorn. Yeah, there's a lot of Nepo kids with Marcus Freeman.
I'm nervous. I'm worried Downs is coming off the board here. I do not want to see him in the NFC East unless it's with a star. Styles. I'm not thrilled with that either as a Cowboys fan.
The guy that I thought in this situation it would be, again, Sonny Styles is a little bit unique in the sense that there are some people who are like, this guy is going to be a potential multi-time Pro Bowl or maybe an All-Pro, tested out of the wazoo at the combine. Just some of the freakiest numbers we've seen.
Yeah.
But then we have other folks who are saying, should he be picked this high if this was a normal year? He's an off-ball linebacker, I mean, he's not really known for rushing. He's more going to be standing up and being, run stopping, playing, that mid zone and coverage. And you're seeing some coverage right here. This is, I think it's Texas, right? Yeah, this is against Texas. Just, great tackle right there.
Well, and he's a former safety.
Yeah.
He's a former safety. He was obviously enormous. They spun him down to linebacker at 6'5", 244. He ran a 4.46, jumped over 43 inches. His relative athletic score was a 9.99 out of 10. I think he's a lot like Fred Warner. Coming in, he's only been playing linebacker for 2 years. So it was, can he be physical? Can he take on blocks? And then can he tackle? He struggled to finish some tackles. He missed 2 tackles all year, and they were both in the playoff game against Miami.
And again, that's, I think, the thing that some people are saying towards the end, he kind of wore down a little bit, but that could also just be you're playing more snaps. This is year one. You're going to class, and I put that in quotation just because whether these guys go to class or not, we don't know. The Saints already have the pick in, so again, they're moving fast tonight.
Yeah, I think also the theatrics are going to have to eventually catch up, but
for sure. But just saying that for those paying attention. But yeah, I mean, Washington got themselves probably the guy that makes the most sense for them. Again, Quinn wants a guy at the linebacker level that's going to be able to step in, be a day one starter. Guy, Styles is smart. He's an athletic freak. And again, from a Dallas perspective, was hoping there was a chance he may be there at 12. As the draft process went on, it became very more and more unlikely. And the Sonny Styles slide stops here, obviously, at 7. And this is, again, when things start to become a little bit more interesting in terms of, again, I know Mitch is talking about the Saints got to take Tyson, which, again,
I'm going to sound like a broken record. This is also, if you're hoping for Caleb Downs at 12, this is a mine you have to dodge. The Saints could pop him here. The Giants at 10, the Dolphins at 11. So
yeah,
if you're the Cowboys, you're getting a little nervous here because I'm just looking at my big board.
Because other than Cleveland probably not picking him, but they most likely will go offensive tackle is the guess, but we don't know. And the other one I want to say for the Saints, I have seen some things with Ruben
Bain, yeah,
another option. So especially if we're starting to see that the pass rushers are starting to dry up, which the elite pass rushers appear to be drying up. Do the Saints decide we don't care about the T-Rex arms, we don't care about the shorter arm of Bain, but he's just a guy that can potentially change our defense, take over for a guy like Cameron Jordan. Again, not saying he's going to be Cameron Jordan, but they did lose him this offseason, and a guy that can step into that role as the main pass rusher for them.
Mitch talks here. If I'm Cleveland, I'm hoping the Cowboys want to move up for Downs. As a Cowboys fan, I'm hoping that's what they want.
I think if you're Cleveland, you would be absolutely open for business. The question is, if you're the Cowboys,
so I think, Daniel, what you're talking about, as someone's revving their engine over here, is Ruben Bain was in a car accident that unfortunately killed a young woman. Happened,
I think 2024.
I think it was 2024. Teams were aware of it. He's gotten another reckless driving charge since then. It's not great, but it sounds like it's not really going to affect his draft standing too much. If anything, it would be the length of his arms, which maybe goes to show you more about the state of the NFL than anything else. But
number one, he went to Georgia. That'd just be another story. But in all seriousness, though, there was also no drugs or no alcohol in that crash that did happen. It just was an unfortunate auto accident.
Yeah.
So I do want to point that out there also. Not saying that makes any better, but at least from his perspective, it wasn't like, oh, I got too drunk one night or I took too many pills or smoked something I shouldn't have smoked. And it was just, something terrible. But
so very quickly, just to reset the board, my board, I have Downs, Bain. Jermon McCoy is going to be up there for a while because of the knee injury. I didn't take that into account because I don't have all the medical information, of course. Maui Noah, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, Vega Ioane, guard from Penn State, Spencer Fano, Kenyon Sadiq, the Oregon tight end, and Miami edge, Akeem Mesidor. So if you are the Cowboys, your options at defense are drying up. What you really need to happen is outside of Mendoza and Love, I think you need 2 offensive linemen to go. None have. And I think you need 2 receivers to go, and only 1 has. That would ensure that either Downs or Bain gets to you. After that, I don't know if they would go defense. I think
They may not.
I think that Jordan Tyson, if he's available, becomes a real possibility. If not, maybe they look to trade down if they're able. There's no guarantee that they could. But things are getting really dicey, especially if Downs goes here or if Bain goes here. I think if Bain goes here, Dallas has to get on the phone with Cleveland and try and go up and jump New York for Downs. Do I think New York is going to go defense? Probably not, but I also just don't see a world where John Harbaugh passes on Caleb Downs twice.
It's one of those things where, again, from a Dallas perspective, especially right now, you need offense to go. You don't care if it's line, you don't care if it's the receivers, you don't care if for some reason someone falls in love with a guy like Ty Simpson. It will not happen with Ty Simpson. The idea of something like that happening where going up. But yeah, the Saints right here are somebody that it's a pivot point of this draft. I think we've had a couple of pivot points already. I think Carnell Tate.
Is Downs the future if they can grab him? Yes. This dude is so good.
Again,
the only reason he's available is he's a safety.
Yeah, if he was any position that was not safety, maybe off-ball linebacker, or not off-ball, but more, I guess even off-ball linebacker, he would be gone.
Yeah, we talked about it. He's going to be the smartest guy in the room immediately. He was apparently going into these interviews and explaining the defensive installs to teams and where he would fit and how they should use him.
And bear in mind also, his brother is a Josh Downs wide receiver from Indianapolis with the Colts.
Right.
So he does come from a family pedigree that does have NFL athleticism. So this isn't just some random guy. It is in the blood somewhere. Yeah, guy's an absolute freak.
Here comes Goodell. I'm already going to queue up the Downs thing. I just have a feeling.
Where are we going, Jared? You think they're going to go down?
Downs.
I'm going Jordan Tyson. I don't know. Jordan Tyson got a second team in that black and gold. But we're going to find out, though.
Are they going to break right now?
Okay.
I was like, what's going on here?
They're zooming out. That's theatrics. Okay, Goodell. Speaking
Jordan Tyson. Okay, we live another pick.
So, which again, Cowboys-wise, you're okay with that. But again, we'll talk about Jordan Tyson, a guy that we think could be wide receiver 1 in this draft potentially if it wasn't for health. And
Allen native, by the way.
I don't know if I realized that.
He went to a JP2 for a year.
Okay.
With his brother Jalen Tyson is a forward on the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Shout out to anybody who knows anybody or went to JP2.
But he transferred to Allen, played there for 3 years. Obviously, an excellent player.
And a guy with Arizona State these last couple of years, while that program.
Cleveland's pick is already in. So,
wow, this is.
So Cowboys are not moving up for Caleb Downs, and I'm sweating bullets here.
And again, but from Dallas's perspective, though, you would assume Cleveland goes offense. So I think they are probably hoping.
I think they're probably going to take an offensive tackle here.
I would agree. Again, Maui Noah, there's been no tackles yet. But does that mean injury issues? Or does the league not like them as much as some media scouts and some media people did? We don't know. But yeah, I think with Tyson going to New Orleans, with Michael Thomas already established there, Tyler Shaw becoming more of a established NFL quarterback, I would still have him in the lower third, but a guy that I think is going to be a good wide receiver 2 in that offense, and maybe one day can grow to wide receiver 1 if he can, not the injuries don't catch up to him too much. And I really honestly like the pick if you're New Orleans. I think it makes a lot of sense. Raise that offense. Especially again, Kellen Moore has seen what happens when you have two good receivers in an offense. We saw what he was able to do with the Eagles with AJ Brown. Devonta Smith was in Dallas for a long time, and again saw what happened when you had folks like CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, etc. So I like what they did. And again, I think we got a good question here from Daniel asking, at what point are you not okay with Dallas taking the best off the board? I think again, right now there's two guys that most people would call in the either true blue chip or in the upper-ish tier. I think Caleb Downs is considered blue chip. I think most people.
I think Downs and Bain are, and I think
Bain. I don't want to put it there for consensus purposes because some people are going to say they're too scared about the measurables. But
supposedly this is from some local Dallas media. Brian Broaddus has mentioned he doesn't think Bain is on their board because of the arm length issues. His arms are under 31 inches long. Does it really matter to me? No, because he plays with this bend that allows him to long arm successfully even without ideal length. He's done it against really high quality competition, obviously, but to me, if you're Dallas and you can't get one of those two guys, if those two go in the next 3 picks here, then I think that would probably leave a Francis Mauigoa for you. That would leave a Dylan Thieneman. Maybe you'd be starting to reach. Like I would just look at, Spencer Fano, maybe.
I was going to say Dallas has been linked to Colton Hood. Could you see them in a wipeout scenario? Not the same you would personally agree with.
Could I see it? Yes. I would not be happy. I would not be happy with that.
It looks like we are.
Are there YouTube issues?
There are some YouTube issues. I'm seeing it from multiple people.
Can y'all see us again, or are we out? Let's check the phone here.
Yeah, we were checking the phone for those because we don't know what happened to YouTube. Showing stream is unavailable for policy violation.
Oh, are you joking? Hold on, let me see if
somebody's.
Oh, that's so obnoxious. That pisses me off. Okay, hang on. I have to find a way to get this over to Facebook Live or something.
Spencer Fano is in for Cleveland.
Okay.
Okay, looks like we're back up, Jared.
Are we?
We are back up.
Oh, we'll mute that.
Guys, we're back. If you can hear us, we're back. Yeah.
Let's go.
All
right. So Spencer,
yes.
Spencer Fano went number 9. Do you think it's safe to keep using all 22?
I would say let's probably pause with some of that for a minute.
All right, we'll hold off.
We'll let the YouTube guys
hold off.
Some other people because they're not liking us right now. But that picked up the Cowboys. But going to the player itself, though, a little surprised he became lineman number 1 in terms of talent. But I think because of the potential to play left tackle does not surprise me that Cleveland decided to go with him here.
Sorry, I'm like rattled.
No, you're all good.
Okay. All right, the Giants pick is in. I'm praying that this is Francis Mauigoa, which would be a great pick for them.
That would be a great pick.
They could use an upgrade on the offensive line. He can play right tackle. He can play inside. but it would just mean you have to dodge one more team to land Downs
or Bain.
or Bain. And Miami's terrible enough that they need everything, so that it's no.
And they may go Makai Lemon regardless.
Yeah.
They may be so scared that we need receiver. They have the worst receiving core in the league. That
Here the pick is being announced. Don't break my heart, New York. Maui Noah, the dream is alive. All right, hold on. All right, I'm trying to catch back up here.
Guys, so we'll talk again. We've been
The
talking
dream
about
is alive.
Yeah, we've been talking about Maui Noah for a minute, so we're not going to go into details. But really, from the Giants' perspective, they got their right tackle of the future. They got a guy that I know his pass protection is actually way better than I thought it was. I think he had like less than 2 pressures.
Yeah, I got those
last
numbers.
year. You may have the numbers, but the numbers surprised because I was associated with Maui.
Per Pro Football Focus, 2 sacks, 15 pressures, 7 penalties. Definitely a better run blocker, but he's a solid. He's a solid pass protector. He's a good player. He's just solid.
He was a 5-star prospect coming out of high school. Started day 1 from Miami. Again, Miami was not the Miami they are today when he started 3 years ago. But again, a guy that he has the potential to be a good tackle. Again, like you said, better run blocker today than he is a pass protector. But a guy that has an easy slot in.
Oh, the Cowboys moved up.
Cowboys have moved up to 11.
Oh, my God.
Whoa.
Oh, my God. We went up 1 spot to make sure nobody could get our guy, and it better be Caleb Downs. And if it's not Caleb Downs, Josh, I'm punching you in the face.
Okay.
So you better hope.
In my own home, that would be kind of a shame.
I'm not going to do that. But
I would hope not.
if the Cowboys walk out of here with Caleb Downs, the pick is in. If the Cowboys walk out of here with Caleb Downs, we're having a party. We are having a party.
I can get the pizza. We could have the pizza party.
Yeah, we already got Little Caesars. RIP to the $5 hot and readies.
It's now $6.99, guys. It was a good run while it lasted, but inflation's.
Oh, hold on. I need to hit the trade alert banner. Oh, my God. Hey, can someone grab the details on the trade?
Yeah, we are looking it up right now. But, yeah, it looks like Dallas for sure traded 11 and 12. So we know that for sure. For a while, it had not updated yet.
Oh, my God. What if they just swapped? What if they came up from 20 somehow, and then they were just going to get Downs and Bain?
That's what I was curious about. But ESPN has updated that. So it appears at least 13 is involved. I am trying
12?
Or 12, excuse me. Yeah, 12 and 11 are involved. I am waiting to see if anybody has anything, but the Dallas media has not updated yet what the compensation is. Looks like Clarence Hill is thinking could be Bain or Downs, which I think you and I both think as well.
If it's Bain, fine. But
I think this has to be Downs.
Downs
this screams Christian Parker. That's
the thing. That's the thing, is that Christian Parker wants this versatile defense with smart backs who can play in a variety of roles. You got one of them in Jalen Thompson.
And I think Thompson's more free and more coverage.
But he did everything.
No, he does.
But here's the deal. With Downs, you can roll out the same personnel with completely different packages and completely different looks because of how those two guys can interchange. Downs can play in the box. He can play free. He can play nickel. He can be a sub-package linebacker. He's a strong run defense. This is a guy who your defense was historically bad last year. Historically bad. He is good enough that
they might be average just because of him and what they've done.
Yeah, he by himself elevates the run game, the pass game. He's a tone setter, a leader, everything that they need. Again, everything that they need, which is why it'd be so frustrating if they moved up and it wasn't for him.
And put it this way, if it is him, it looks like somebody who I know is an Eagles fan is not happy about something, so he may know something we don't.
They went to commercial.
Of course, but again, as a Cowboys fan, you've been saying for years we need better safety play. They got, to your point, they got Thompson this year from Arizona, and if Downs is the pick, which I think you and I are projecting, what I'm seeing online is that is kind of the thought as well. Then he will be the best safety we have had here since Darren Wood.
100%. And Broadus has talked about it before that they used to say, well, with Darren Woodson, we did like that was our sub packaging. Like we didn't have sub packages. We just had Darren Woodson go and do different things.
Yeah. So I think.
I mean, again, he's the number one player in the draft in my eyes. This was before I thought Dallas would have ever had a shot at getting him. This isn't a Dallas thing. This is genuinely speaking. Caleb Downs is the best safety I've ever scouted.
And I can see why you would say that.
He's one of the best defensive players I've ever scouted.
And again, this is okay. I am seeing something from Ed Warder. I don't know if you want me to say it or not, but
go ahead.
It's not a true spoiler. He is saying, presumably for Caleb Downs, the reason the Cowboys made this pick. Apparently, Troy Aikman is in the Miami draft room, which would make some sense because he is helping with the GM search. He's kind of
interesting
part of the organization. But
so Troy Aikman, the plant helping us out.
Yeah,
trade up for 2/5. Is that what it was?
And if that's it, that is so worth it.
Hold on. Dolphins get 177 and 180.
Perfect.
That's fine.
Perfect.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Especially if you can move back from 20 and pick up some additional capital. You have 3 5th-rounders. Yeah. They didn't even give up the highest one. I think the highest one is like 152. I can tell you in just a second.
And I will say this much. I know people make fun of 152, both Cowboy-wise and in the NFL, but this is why you do it.
This is why you do it.
Because that way you get these trade sweeteners in.
Mitch, if it's Keldrick Falk, I'm coming to Forney and giving you the business.
Frankie, the answer is technically yes, but in reality, no.
I didn't see Frankie's.
Frankie was asking to down count as a first-round pick for Bama. The answer is going to be
Josh will take it.
I mean, put it this way, Bama does have a cool little wall of all their first-round draft picks in the jersey that they went to. Downs will not be.
We need to get off commercial here.
Yeah, what?
Because I'm still nervous. I'm not gonna celebrate until not even on Twitter what you guys say. I need to see it from Roger Goodell's mouth.
Yeah,
and if it happens, we're partying.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have work tomorrow. If not,
me too. But I hope I don't scare Rory.
He'll be fine. If not, if you heard dog barking earlier in the feed, you may hear some more. Shout out to Rory.
All right, Bud Light, we're back.
Okay, we are back. Camera is starting to zoom in. So yeah, so it looks like it is 2 5th-rounders this year and pick 12 and for pick 11. With assuming we think it is what we think it is, it will be worth it. Jared, I don't know if I've seen you this nervous since the Johnny Manziel Zach Martin draft.
I was so nervous because this is an opportunity to get a generational player.
And the pick is in. Come on, Miguel.
Say it. Say it.
Say his name, and he appears.
We did it. We did it.
God.
We're here. We're here.
And Hillary Duff said, "This is what dreams are made of."
Who said that?
Hillary Duff.
Hillary Duff. Yeah, you're right.
Lizzie McGuire.
You're right. You're right.
But Hillary Duff has her own version now, so it's okay. She did the Taylor Swift.
Hey, y'all tell me, should we test the YouTube and play the all 22 or what? Yeah, y'all tell me, do we risk it or no?
Risk it for the biscuit, or is Caleb Downs enough to not risk it so you guys don't lose the live stream from us?
You tell us. In the meantime,
okay, he is pumped, and I will say something.
I'm so fired up, dude. I'm so fired. We were talking about it. He's gonna come in, give you the immediate credibility on the back end, the leadership. He's going to set the tone that you need in the secondary, but he's someone, because you talk about the front 7 and the back 7, right? You talk about the front 7 and the back 7. Well, my father-in-law says risk it. I got to listen.
Okay. Yeah.
The front 7 and the back 7, Caleb Downs affects both just because of where he can play. And you're going to see him here, right here. He's out wide as a corner. The play before where he got the interception, he was up right on the line of scrimmage. You're going to see him as a box safety. You're going to see him blitzing. You're going to see him
Downs.
Downs. I like that.
Cowboys used to run out to that.
Oh my gosh,
This is wow. I was dreaming that somehow this might happen. I don't know if I've been this excited for a Cowboys pick maybe since probably Zach Martin, but that was more because we need Big Johnny Manziel. But
Yeah.
probably like truly excited for a pick since Dez Bryant. And CeeDee Lamb was up there also. But yeah, this is something that if you're a Dallas fan and you're wondering, can they make the playoffs? The answer now is yes. And I know that is a lot of responsibility and that is a lot of praise for a guy. But with what they needed and the type of guy this is, he is about as sure of a thing in this draft as you're going to get.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's the number one player on my board.
5-star guy coming out of the greater Atlanta area. Went down.
Boo, did it go down? Frankie, did we lose the stream? Or are you booing the Dolphins?
You let us know.
I'm going to update the big board in the meantime. Hey, I joked, I think with Gabe.
Yeah.
What if Bane somehow fell to 20?
Don't give me that excited.
Just a question.
Don't get yeah, stream is unavailable.
Okay.
So
now we know the issue.
We know the issue, and Jared no longer wants us. I think all 22 is officially.
All right, so we can't do the all 22. That's annoying. We'll see if they let us come back. YouTube, if you're watching, I promise not to do any more all 22.
We tried. We understand YouTube. Okay, someone has said something.
That was me.
Oh, that was you.
Let's see.
Worst case, we go out and come back in.
All right, let's see if it gives us a minute here.
Yeah, we'll see. But no more video. Hopefully get some water while we can. Give me a second. I'm going to towel put this water on. Started to leak too much. Drip. Holy crap. Holy crap, 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 crap. Holy crap, 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 crap. You back?
Not yet.
So you have
Done posting all 22 YouTube. Dolphins select. In case it's still recording or something.
Lemon.
Caden Proctor, your boy.
Bama's first round streak
Your
is
boy.
alive.
Proctor. I mean, I guess we could still keep talking in case it comes back during this.
Ooh.
Are we back?
Justin posted, but
Said fight the power.
but I don't know if it's him saying.
Oh, we're back. We're back. Okay. So Caden Proctor going to Miami at 12. Interesting pick. Again, we talked about Miami just needed a little bit of everything. And we talked about when Proctor is on, he might be the best offensive lineman in the class, but the consistency's been an issue.
Yeah.
Can you go ahead, as the resident Alabama fan, kind of give us your breakdown on the big man?
So Caden Proctor, a couple of things I'm going to point out. Number one, 5-star kid coming out of the state of Iowa, originally committed to Iowa, went to Bama, was the Bama starting left tackle from day one. He did then technically leave Bama his freshman going into sophomore year. Went to Iowa, transferred back to Bama before the start of the sophomore year, was at Bama the whole time. A guy that has had issues with his weight, and I think even Nick Saban had talked about weight issues with Proctor. Not even saying that Proctor's a bad kid. It's just one of these things where when he's on the field, and this is what Saban was talking about in an interview here a couple of days ago, and he would know more than anybody, both from coaching him and from still being around the building. he's going to do what you want him to do. You tell him to get on a weight program, you're going to tell him to eat right, he'll do it in the building. The problem is the consistency outside, and that's why
Like the self-motivation.
Self-motivation, yeah. He's not a very self-motivated guy as some would hope he would be, given his talent level. That is why I think supposedly he ballooned up to about 390 to 400 pounds.
It's a big
supposedly
boy.
played around 360-ish last year. I think ideally would be around the 340 range.
It's a real bummer I can't show the all 22 because I have it of him catching the pass and running and
that's
running in for a touchdown or almost a touchdown.
And that's the thing is that, Proctor, for a guy that big, he is that athletic. There's a reason they did let him, have those specialty plays last year.
Yeah.
Athletic, again, I think he probably will start at left tackle for them, but it could easily become a guard at some point in his career. They're like, hey, you're getting beat too much by speed guys, and that's going to be the problem. If he's facing a power rush guy.
Yeah, you're not bull rushing Caden Proctor.
No. The issue with Proctor is if you got a speed dude who just is too quick, too much finesse, that's where he's going to get beat. And that's where whoever is going to end up starting for the Dolphins next year quarterback is going to have issues. So now I guess we're on the Rams.
Rams pick is in. So Mitch asked odds on Sadiq or Lemon making it to 16. So here's the deal. I think whichever one, if the Rams take one of them, I think, if the Rams pass on Lemon, I think there's a very good chance Lemon gets to 16.
I could see it.
If the Rams pass on Sadiq, I think you still have to worry about Baltimore and Tampa. I think they're both legitimate options for Sadiq. So I think if you're a Jets fan and you want Mekhi, you want one of those guys, I think you'd rather the Rams take Sadiq. Now they're showing Ty Simpson in the green room. This would be more of a surprise than Tate or Proctor. By the way, I personally had Proctor 35 on my board just with some of the inconsistencies. I like some of the other tackles better than him. But I think for the Rams here, you got to watch out for Mekhi Lemon.
I think Mekhi Lemon is the obvious pick. I think there's been a lot of chat.
A lot of smoke around that.
And so if I had to guess it's Lemon, it would make sense just because with Devontae Adams getting older.
Well, and the Puka Nacua stuff.
And that's what I was about to bring up is that Puka on the field last year, great. Puka off the field this offseason, not so hot. And the question is going to be are you, again, like we talked about with Pickens earlier, if you're the Rams, are you going to want to pay Puka will probably be $40+ million a year? On the field, the answer seems to be yes.
Yeah.
Off the field, that's when it gets dicey.
Yeah.
So if you get a guy like Lemon here, you get, again, guy that won the Biletnikoff last year, again, best receiver in college, played at USC last year, just down the road, which again doesn't really mean as much as it used to, but it is something that he's at least, familiar with the area in terms of dealing with the greater LA sports fan. And again, he was a guy that won the Biletnikoff against guys who already got drafted ahead of him in Tyson and Tate. Because all this. Thank you, Frankie. But also, again, guys like Jeremiah Smith. Guys, in Jeremiah Smith, I think if he was in this draft, you can make an argument you pick Jeremiah Smith number one over Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, you can make that argument.
You can make the argument. And I'm saying that Lemon, won an award over Smith. Other guys last year who had great years. So if I'm the Rams, I think you probably go Lemon. But again, there's that sex appeal going. If you get a tight end and he's a game changer, and we've seen what those game changing tight ends can do, then that offense next year could be scary for the Rams.
Yeah, I'm going to hold off on the stats and going any deeper on Lemon just in case he's not the pick and we need to talk about something else. But Kenyon Sadiq, we talked about, could be an option. They spent a lot on improving their secondary. Obviously, the big trade for Trent McDuffie's sending the 29th pick, which was their original pick. This is the 13th pick they got from the Falcons when they traded up for James Pierce last year. Yeah. Which James Pierce is another
interesting case.
Can of worms. So, yeah, they spent a lot of resources on the secondary. Jalen Watson was another Chiefs cornerback they went and signed, and I think did they sign a safety too, Kobe Bryant, perhaps from Seattle.
They signed somebody else. I don't know if it was Kobe Bryant.
I'm gonna check on that.
It may. I think someone went to the Bears from Seattle. That may have been Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant went to the. Oh wait, there's two Kobe Bryants.
There's a C.
Well, no, I know that, but this is with a Y, not with an E.
Yeah,
you're right. It was the Bears.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did get someone else, I think, but the Rams saw the secondary was their biggest weakness or their perceived weakness.
But I'm wondering if they just go BPA because they can.
I mean, they could.
Like, I don't think they would take Ruben Bain, but like, could they?
I mean, again, do they decide, hey, Jamal McCoy is a guy that,
that would be fascinating.
We know we were trying to get the secondary. We don't even come in day one.
Showing Simpson again.
But again, that's normally
we're back from commercial
that's
break.
That's normally the fake out because normally if he's getting picked, the agents, something they're calling him. So I think this is just ESPN being ESPN and trying to hype up the quarterback and where he's going to go.
Well, here comes Goodell.
I'm going Lemon.
Going Lemon. Let's see. It is. I think Lemon's probably the choice. I agree with you. Just makes the most sense. I'm even going to cue him up.
Yeah, no more film.
No, Ty Simpson.
Wow.
Back to back on the Roll Tide.
Back to back. You're going to Frankie, but yeah, for sure, really back to back. Wow, they go Simpson, and like I told you,
I'm shocked. I have a third round grade on Ty Simpson.
Where's my money, Jared? I told you he's going round one, but I thought this was the highest he might go. I did not think he was going to go this high.
So obviously he's going to be sitting behind Matt Stafford for at least a year.
Maybe two.
Maybe.
This is imagine the Patrick Mahomes style. Obviously, we're not saying Ty Simpson is Patrick Mahomes. He is not. Both as a prospect and just athletically, etc. But again, I think the Rams are saying that we know Matt Stafford is closer to the end of the beginning.
Yeah. Now, here's what's interesting is he's an older player, but he only has 1 year of experience.
Yeah,
he bided his time at Alabama, something that you don't see a lot of.
Didn't transfer at all.
Didn't transfer, and it's very rare to see in the NCAA now, especially at the quarterback position. So for him to sit behind Jalen Milroe, behind Bryce Young, and then eventually get a start, and he had like a solid 6 to 7 week stretch where he looked like he was going to make a run at the number one pick.
I think you could have made an argument at points last year until about the South Carolina game, at your point, early-ish October. He was just as good, if not better, than Mendoza. Some people would make that argument.
Yeah.
But obviously he regressed, whether that was because of injury, lack of offensive line play, etc. But obviously the Rams see potential QB1. And, I think for him, this is a great spot. Does not have to come Does not have to come in immediately. Good kid. Dad is a football coach at, I believe, UT Martin, which is in FBS or Division I AA, whatever you want to refer to it as. So coach's kid, got a good head on him. And again, guy who has some wheels if he needs to run, but I would say more accurate than he is in terms of throw power. Did really great with these medium crossing routes last year and just medium routes. And I think a guy that could do well in the Sean McVay offense, which I know, again, I think almost any quarterback could do great in the Sean McVay offense, but I think with the concept that he likes, especially with the underneath and the medium style.
Above average arm, above average athlete, accurate thrower. The deep ball leaves something to be desired
I think
at times.
He had that to prove last year. Some of that you can make the argument was on him. Some may have been on his receivers, but regardless, he didn't give enough spot for him to catch it. So,
and I think even though he's older, a relatively inexperienced quarterback, somebody who, again, coaches son, really understands the game. I think he processes things well. I do think he'll need to speed up his internal clock a little bit.
He did have some issues last year, especially earlier in the year against Florida State, which is one of the losses that Alabama had, where clock just was a little behind.
Yeah, what's interesting is fewer interceptions than Mendoza by 1. He only threw 5 picks to Mendoza 6. 3% turnover worthy plays. That's about average. 6% on the big time throws. That's in, guys who are going to be NFL players. That's their range. These numbers, again, according to Pro Football Focus, 7 fumbles. He's going to have to take care of the ball. He's going to have to watch the sacks. 18.3% pressure to sack rate is a little high. But again, somebody who I think is a little Brock Purdy-ish.
I could see it.
And again, the McVay offense kind of stems from the Shanahan tree.
Yeah.
Obviously, Purdy succeeded over there.
So again, I think something that we weren't expecting. I think again, you and I were expecting offense, just not quarterback. But now with the Ravens on the clock, the pick is in. Again, they're an organization that not as a Ravens fan, I hate the Ravens. And the reason why I say I hate the Ravens is
they're about to take Ruben Bain. They always just take good players.
They just get good players.
They're going to pick Ruben Bain or Kenyon Sadiq.
They get these high floor guys who usually perform well, and no matter where they are, they get the right guy normally that falls to them. And I, as a non-Ravens fan, dislike that. I respect the Ravens organization.
Vanga Ioane could also be a pick here. There's a lot of smoke, and here comes Goodell to make that announcement.
Yeah.
Are they doing something? No. Okay, here we go. Yeah, there it is. Vanga Ioane.
There we go.
Olav Vanga Ioane, offensive guard from Penn State.
Yeah, so a guy that I did see mocked to them, and there was some connection there. So it doesn't surprise me too much. Again, no, they obviously lost Linderbaum, who's a center. So again, not obviously what Ioane was. I believe they got Jackson. They got Jackson Powers from Raiders, didn't they? They got
Jackson Powers Johnson.
Yeah, they got Jackson Powers. I think they did.
I don't know if he was a free agent.
I think it was a trade. I thought they were.
Oh, okay, maybe you might be right.
Wrong with that.
You might be right.
To replace Linderbaum. The point being that this guy was considered the best true offensive guard in this draft. A guy that's going to help them in the trenches. Again, we know Baltimore; they like trenches.
Yep, really good athlete, but just really strong, powerful guard. I didn't love his 2024 tape, but his technique looked a lot cleaner, and that athleticism really played up because of it. And then we're kind of watching here on the ESPN stream. He's a finisher. He wants to pancake you, and he wants to finish that block with authority.
No, I think, again, a guy, I don't know if he's going to be a Pro Bowler necessarily or a guy that's going to be an All-Pro, but I think he's just going to be a good starter, and there's nothing wrong with that in this league.
All right, moving on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their pick is in as Goodell is congratulating Ty Simpson here, and they're taking a picture together. So it might be a minute before we get to Tampa. But Mitch, it could be Sadiq, it could be Lemon, it could be Bain for the Jets. Well, probably not because they took Bailey, but I actually think Bain could go here to the Buccaneers. Sadiq could go here to the Buccaneers. Those are both probably the top 2 options.
I think if you're Mitch, you're pretty happy as a Jets fan right now. You're going to have some good options.
You got to be really happy. Skodex. Alex putting in the call for Kenyon Sadiq here.
Yeah, we could see it. I could absolutely see it for them. Again, they did lose a weapon in Mike Evans this offseason, and obviously Evans a true receiver, not a tight end, but they could probably use some more firepower generically. Again, a team that probably underperformed last year. I think we could agree with Tampa compared to what they did the year prior and what they had coming back.
Got to be careful that Bain never ends up playing in Pittsburgh. It's a deep cut, Frankie. Yeah, I like it.
I respect that.
Didn't go well last time.
I respect that right there. But yeah, there's a lot of options. There hasn't been like one guy that's just been like he's going to be a buck.
So a name I've seen a lot of, and this is why I kind of think it could be Bane, is actually his teammate Akeem Mesidor.
Yeah, I did see Mesidor a little bit.
What do you think it's possible that they go with Mesidor over Bane?
I think yes. I think like you and I talked about, we agree. If you compare Mesidor to Bane has the more potential and is the better player today.
Yeah,
I think we agree with that.
Yeah.
But does an NFL team again look at the arm length, which you and I don't care about,
the car thing,
the car stuff, and decide we'd rather have a guy like a Mesidor who's 25.
That's the kicker.
And the kicker is he is who he is.
And which is a darn good player, right?
And that's not a bad thing when I say that, but he's a very much the floor, the ceiling is the floor.
Yes. He's probably more likely, to come in today and give you the sack output that you're looking for. I think Bane's a better all-around player. Bane's the better run defender. He sets the edge better. He's a little more powerful.
Better on-field. But when I say on-field attitude, he just brings that intensity to him.
Yeah, as does Mesidor.
Mesidor does as well.
As does Mesidor.
Bane's elite, in my opinion.
Yes.
There's two guys in this draft that are like, they are tone setters.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Downs would be one of them. Bane is another guy in that elite. You're going to field this guy. For
sure. I think if Mesidor were 22, I don't see how he gets out of the top 10. I think you could argue he might have the best pass rush repertoire, and just in terms of moves and the things that, how he sequences his moves and counters and things like that. And he got better as the year went on.
Yeah.
And in the playoffs in particular,
he
was fantastic.
Yeah, I think if it is Mesidor here, hypothetically, I think he's going to be a guy that's going to do well that first contract. I don't know if you necessarily give him a contract number 2 because of the age, but there's the reasons why. You could see, them going that direction. Again, I think they could use a little bit of everything. I don't think they're going to go offensive line here, especially at this point. I think a lot of the main offensive linemen that I know I have been picked. There's a couple that we might see, but I think that's going to be closer in the 20 range. And maybe a Monroe Freeling if they wanted a guy at a right tackle, but I don't think they would do that.
So I'm just looking over here at the team needs that I wrote down for Tampa Bay. I have edge, linebacker, tight end, and corner. Yeah. Not an off-ball linebacker you'd take this high. We've talked about Sadiq. We've talked about Bane and Mesidor.
Again,
maybe a corner. So maybe a Jermod McCoy, maybe a Colton Hood.
Maybe a Chris Johnson.
But the pick is in. Here comes Goodell. We'll talk about that pick. And then for the Jets, we'll kind of revisit the big board here, the top 10, and then get into some options as Mitch starts to sweat it a little bit.
A run's about to go here pretty soon, and we're going to also get to talk about that here after this pick.
All right, here comes Goodell. Rueben Bain. All right.
Okay.
So there goes my dream of Bain somehow sliding to the Cowboys at 20.
I wasn't trying to say anything because I was hoping to maybe get that into existence, but you know what? This is a type of pick that I think a top 5 talent in this draft, if you can get a top 5 talent at this point in 15, you're going to be pretty happy. With that, again, a guy is always in the state of Florida, so he will remain in the state of Florida. So
that's right.
Not to change his driver's license, so good for you, Rueben.
Ruben's really, really talented. 30 and 7/8 inch arms, but again, the way he plays with this lean, and he's able to establish first contact anyway, and there's so much pop in his hands, that it almost doesn't matter.
No. He's very bendy. There were some drills.
He's really flexible for a 270 pounder. Kind of a weird body type, stocky, but he's really, really quick athletically, really fluid in his lower half.
Okay, this is Mitch. I thought we were talking about Tampa Mitch. That's my fault. Yeah, talking about the Jets. Yeah. So again, good pick. I again was trying not to say too much because I was hoping maybe he slid down to 20, but I think again that Tampa probably made the best pick in terms of BPA, a guy that's going to make an impact for them. And again, I think the scary part is going to be the arm length. Only time will tell to see how much that really makes an impact on his game. But this is the type of guy that, again, I saw him in pass rushing drills in comparison to guys that went before him, and Arvell Reese specifically, much more fluid.
Yeah.
And a guy that if you're asking me who needs to get a sack on one play, you want Arvell Reese or Ruben Bain, I would pick Bain as an example. But again,
So, sorry, go ahead and finish your thought.
Oh, no.
Or did you finish?
No, I was just about to finish. I would just say we're about to get to the Jets here. And this is, I think, where things.
So before we get into that, because there's plenty to talk about here, I want to reset the board. I want to go through my top 10 available.
Yeah, sure.
And again, the number next to them is going to be their overall spot on my board.
So 12 would be 12 on Jared's big board, not that he went 12.
Correct. So Jermon McCoy, we talked about. We just don't know where he's going to go with his knee injury, but the film was as good as any you'll ever see. Makai Lemon, the receiver from USC, more of a slot guy, but I think would be a really good fit in New York with Garrett Wilson, someone who can get open. Yards after catch monster. Again, we'll get to that. If and when he's the pick. Dylan Thieneman, the Oregon safety, very versatile player. 19 overall, but fourth is Colton Hood, McCoy's teammate. Although they never suited up together because Hood transferred in from Colorado.
Sanders. So.
Peter Woods, who at one point looked like he was going to go top 5.
There were rumors that he may have gone to Cincinnati
at 10 if they didn't trade for Lawrence. Talented player, but that whole Clemson team was just a disappointment. Chris Johnson after that, the corner from San Diego State, one of my favorite players in the class. I think he's very underrated. Omar Cooper Jr., the receiver from Indiana. And then rounding out my top 10, Caden McDonald, the defensive tackle from Ohio State. So, again, we've got our resident Jets fan in the house. Mitch, I know, is begging for one of Lemon or Sadiq. I think Omar Cooper could even be in consideration, although if you're going to go with that type of player, I'd probably just go with Lemon.
I would go Lemon also, but again, I do know that Cooper had been mocked there. There's been smoke, so I guess the question is, did they?
But I think part of it was Lemon wasn't getting there because they were putting him at 13. But also,
again, we have to remember, I don't know if Lemon ever met the Jets.
He's built like a gummy bear. That's got to be in reference to Bain, right, Frankie?
That is definitely Bain. I saw Frankie do that when we were talking about Bain. So
I think Mitch is right. There could be a chance this is a corner, maybe a Colton Hood, maybe a Chris Johnson, but we'll find out right now. Here comes Goodell. I'm still thinking it's Lemon.
You would assume, but we're starting to get it more wrong and wrong. So
that didn't look like Makai Lemon. Kenyon Sadiq. Okay, so you got your pass catcher. It's the tight end.
There we go. You got your.
It's the tight end. Kenyon Sadiq. Where's Alex Siebert to talk about? Talk about Kenyon Sadiq.
And again, I think somebody, especially with Mason Taylor, that's gonna be a fun tight end combination.
Absolutely. Sadiq. I kind of talked about him being more of a Vernon Davis type of tight end. So coming over here, again, we mentioned sub 4.4 in the 40, over 43 inches on the vertical. He's a freak athlete. 51 catches, 560 yards, 8 touchdowns. Drop rate of 10.5% is a little high. Forced 8 missed tackles, and a contested catch rate of 58.3%, which is pretty solid. The other thing about Sadiq is people just assume because of the kind of athlete he is that he couldn't block. He's a pretty solid blocker.
No, definitely can block. This is not a guy that played receiver but was too tall, so we made you a tight end. I think, again, you give the Jets more weapons. I think they know next year may not be their year again. I'm not saying that in a negative light, but they're hoping that.
I think their goal is to grab one of these elite quarterbacks at the top.
And that's what I was going to say.
Dante Moore, Arch Manning, Julian Sayin.
Multiple first-round picks next year. They're trying to give whoever that quarterback is next year weapons. Give him something. Hey, we are going to give you a key to a very nice sports car. Do not crash it. Right now, again, you're assuming they're going to have
there we go.
Garrett Wilson next year, and again, it's in 2027. They will have a third-year Mason Taylor. They will have now, obviously, Kenyon Sadiq. We don't know what's going to happen with Breece Hall at that point, if there's going to be a contract or not. But again, they've got some weapons, and they've done some nice things in this draft. Again, they got what I think is the best pass rusher in the draft in Bailey. They got, again, the best tight end in the draft, a weapon, and Sadiq. And now it's just going to be a matter of what can they do on the field.
Yeah, they're keeping they're keeping the powder dry like we talked about for next year, and they're going to have 3 first-round picks next year after they sold Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. They're going to have the better of the Dallas Green Bay pick. And then, obviously the 2 first-round picks this year, 2 more picks early in the second round. So they pick, I think, 4 times in the top 44.
Which means
they're going to be able to surround that future quarterback with the pieces they need. They already have their bookend tackles in Olu Fashanu and Armand Membu. Now you're starting to, we got Garrett Wilson and Kenyon Sadiq. Breece Hall's still on the team, right?
Yeah, he signed a franchise tag.
So right now, Breece Hall's still in the picture. That's all of a sudden a really nice foundation for the quarterback that walks in there. And it might be another rough year just because it's back to Geno Smith under center. But 2028, man, Jets are going to look good.
And I know, Mitch, you're talking about give you a receiver, and by assuming you in the second, and something like Concepcion or Boston. And again,
I got you, brother.
You're absolutely right. There's a lot of great receivers that are not, again, we've been talking about the top 3 who we kind of define as that tier 1 level receiver, but there's a lot of interesting guys that are going to go maybe late first or early day 2. Guys like Concepcion, some guys like Boston, some guys, I know I have Jeremy Bernard in that same idea of a tier. Who else do I have? Again, Omar Cooper hasn't gone yet. I expect that he goes tonight, but maybe
Cooper, Concepcion, Boston. I like Antonio Williams, Chris Bell.
Yeah,
Chris Bell's so good.
Yeah,
he just has the ACL injury.
Don't know if he goes early second just because of that. I'm trying to think of more.
I take 44. I'd take him there because you already know, hey, it's fine if he redshirts and we're just going to pair him up. It's treat it like getting a 4th first-round pick. He's that good.
And again,
he's that good.
He was doing that well before, so I could see it. Just because Aaron Glenn may say we need some stuff this year, I want someone to play. But yeah, there's a lot of great options for us, for the Jets to do next year. But I'm going to kind of pivot a little bit away from the Jets right now, and I think this is when a run's about to happen.
Yeah, I think we're about to see a lot of offensive linemen, and this is where I think, selfishly as a Cowboys fan, things get really interesting. Because you look at the next group and you say, okay, Detroit, probably going O-line. Vikings, probably not.
They probably go defensive back is my guess, the Vikings.
Yeah, Carolina, I think maybe could. Maybe. Let me see.
Well, I guess my question is,
I think they've got other big needs. But then
but can they go? But again,
you've got Pittsburgh, who I think could go O-line. Then at 22, it's the Chargers, who I think could go interior offensive line. They've got Joe Walton, Rashawn Slater at their tackles, so maybe not there.
But they could get a tackle converted to a guard. You do got to remember that too.
True. 23, the Eagles. I think Lane Johnson getting ready to retire. I think that's a potential offensive line spot. At who's got 24. Back to Cleveland.
I think they just do BPA at that point, is my guess.
Cleveland took Fano, right? So they're not going O-line again.
And most likely would not, unless they. I would say they do something different.
The Bears, probably not a tackle. 26, Buffalo, probably not a tackle. But then the 27, 28. So in this range, 49ers. I think here comes the Lions, but I think the 49ers could pick a tackle.
Yeah.
I think Houston wants a tackle. I think Kansas City could want a tackle after coming up for Delane.
Yeah, they're going to probably go offense, is my guess, at 29. But
so if you're Dallas, it might be a good
again,
good place for a team to try and jump up, and then you fall back, recoup some day 2, some day 3 compensation, and still plenty of those second tier defenders that you feel good about.
Whether that be a linebacker, whether that be a defensive end, they could go.
Just take Mekhi Lemon at 20 and figure it out.
That's again, that's a question that we talk about Pickens this whole draft.
He'd be a good fit in Carolina, actually. We got Ted as the X.
I was gonna say I could see Lemon going to Carolina if he slides that far. Again, not sure if he will or not.
All right, the Lions take. Mitch says I'm not going to like him. Blake Miller. You're right, Mitch. I think, Mitch, you actually asked me about someone that I thought was going to go way higher than I would take him. It's Blake Miller. That was the answer I gave you.
That's a little surprising, especially I know I had Monroe Freeling.
I'm not surprised. It's just not where I would have taken him. On my big board, and again, this is just me, I have Blake Miller 67th. So they just took him 50 spots higher than where I have him. So
and Vikings pick is already in. I think we know what that is.
Probably Dylan Thieneman, but we'll come back to that in a second. Miller, right tackle, has started. It was a big number, 54 games and over 3,700 snaps.
A lot of experience, which is NFL.
A lot of experience. He's got the size you look for. He's a really good athlete. Not the most powerful guy. Gave up 14 pressures, 2 sacks, 5 penalties. I thought there were some issues with his technique. He's on the ground a lot. I think his hands, he'll misfire, and then he's athletic enough to make up for it sometimes. Plays with more power in the run game than in the pass game, kind of high pad level. But for a guy who's that experienced, you would hope he wouldn't have technique issues is kind of where I'm coming from.
Again,
I would have rather taken a swing at Maxi Honachor from Arizona State, Monroe Freeling. Again, I understand and actually I think Miller's temperament kind of fits with Detroit. And especially if they are going to flip Penei Sewell over to left tackle like they've talked about, Miller has played the right tackle spot.
This is quick.
Oh, wow. Okay, Vikings are up.
Vikings wasted no time.
Sorry, I know we've got a Vikings fan in the house, or at least we did at one point. I don't know if Brandon's still here.
And
Caleb Banks, not Dylan Thieneman.
Okay, I just would have lost money right there. Wow.
Okay. Thank you, Jeremy. A big fan of you too. Here, I'll put your message up on screen while I go.
Jeremy, appreciate it, man.
While I go find my Caleb Banks card.
Did not see that one coming. I did see, though, that his doctors did post a letter to the NFL saying he would be back by June. So obviously that must have worked.
So here's the thing with Caleb Banks. If you're just looking at this guy's highlight reel, it's pretty crazy.
Right now he's just in like a vest and no shirt. He looks like a guy you do not want to mess with.
But here's the deal. He only played in 3 games this year. He had a foot injury, and you could tell when he was playing, that foot injury really hampered him. Yeah. His 24 tape, a lot of pop. For a guy who's 6'6", 327, moves super well. He's really explosive, good lateral mobility. That's why I think the foot injury really hampered him. But at that size, he doesn't play with great pad level. He allows it to rise. You would think this big guy could play some one technique, take on double teams. That's not really his game. He's more of a disruptor, kind of a 3 technique. But as far as just physical traits go, he's up there with Peter Woods as best in the class.
I think he has better traits in terms of physical.
Just because of the size?
Because of the size. I think if you're talking, again, I think Peter,
what is he, like 35-inch arms?
It was something ridiculous. I don't remember the exact.
35. Sorry, go ahead.
All I was just going to say was if you're looking for a 3 tech, which my guess is that's where Minnesota probably would envision it playing, especially in Brian Flores style defense, Caleb Banks would make more sense than Peter Woods, in my opinion. Again, there's risk in Banks, to your point. There's a foot injury. Foot injuries generally with people, especially big folks, don't usually go away forever and ever and ever. Oh, okay, hold on. We got a trade alert.
Do we?
We got
from Dallas. Is Dallas moving back?
From Dallas.
I like it, boys. I like what we're doing here.
Dallas is trading pick 20 to the Philadelphia Eagles for pick 23, 114, 137.
Let's do it.
So again, Dallas and Philly, though division rivals,
Boom.
have played the trade game in the past.
Yeah, and that's how the Cowboys ended up with Michael Parsons.
So
And
obviously
Philly came up for Devontae Smith.
Correct. So Philly must obviously see someone. Sorry to interrupt there talking about Banks, but especially because we know that pick is probably now they're on the clock technically, since it looks like the Panthers pick is in.
So who do we think the Panthers? Or sorry, go ahead and finish your thoughts on Banks.
All I was going to say is that I think that the foot injury scares me, but there's a lot of traits there, and I think if someone is going to bring it out of him, Brian Flores of Minnesota could be it. So
definitely. So Panthers on the clock.
I think it's a tackle. It's got to be for me Philly with some kind of.
Oh, Philly's for sure coming up for an offensive lineman. I think Carolina. I kind of like Mekhi Lemon here as a fit next to Tet McMillan.
I do too. I think they could use weapons. Again, they had Adam Thielen last year for a little bit. Then they obviously traded him back to Minnesota. And again,
Dylan Thieneman could be an option here. They need a safety.
They could. I think Lemon makes too much sense. I don't think, especially again.
What if Philly's coming up for Mekhi Lemon? There's all the rumors that June 1, once the league year changes and the contract shift,
it's possible
that they'll trade A.J. Brown to the Patriots.
I'm not going to say it's impossible, especially.
How much does Devontae Smith play in the slot? Well, I feel like A.J. Brown's more like the big slot, right?
Well, A.J. I think is more outside. I mean, Smith can definitely play slot. I don't know if he wants Smith playing slot.
I will do some research.
But it's possible. I mean, again, the Eagles did get other receivers for this year, but again, drafting is not about just next year. It's about 3-4 years down the road. So it's possible the Panthers go a different direction here. Lemon was on the clock. Dallas was open for business, and knowing that they, traded capital.
I think you could trade down a second time. I really do.
Again, I think Dallas being the most active team.
Go and get Akeem Mesidor, Malachi Lawrence. Let's do it.
I want to say it's a little surprising, but it's not. I think both people are saying Dallas is willing to move up and down. They've done both.
All right, so Smith played out of the slot about 56% of the time. What about A.J. Brown? Because Mekhi Lemon plays
mostly slot, I would assume.
That one I wrote down. Lemon plays about 70% of his snaps in the slot.
But again, Smith played outside in college.
Okay, Brown only 12%. I'm stupid.
No,
don't mind me.
No, you're good. So again, it could be Omar Cooper also. Well,
Cooper's also a slot guy.
Yeah, but again, just another receiver option there that because it could also be Lemon gets drafted at 19, for instance, or Cooper.
Yeah.
And the other one, the Eagles get scared and they are willing to trade their 2 4th-rounders, which Dallas got to be excited for.
Yeah, Dallas now has two 4s. 3 4s is. A 5th, I guess. So early 5. You said 134 was the other.
There it is 2 4s. So whatever.
2 4s. Okay.
So which is
134 is a comp pick. They picked Dak at 135. Monroe Freeling to Carolina.
Which again I think is a good. Again,
it's a good pick.
It's a guy that I thought maybe the most floor heavy best left tackle in this draft. A guy that's athletic. Pretty agile, a guy who pretty sure was a 5-star coming into Georgia. Again, Georgia just a football machine at this point. Maybe not quite as known for their O-line as they have in other portions, especially on the defense. But I think
so. Here we're seeing Dallas trades pick to Philadelphia officially on the ESPN stream. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good, but I think again, Bryce Young is a thing. I think last year Bryce Young proved. He is real, which means you're probably going to re-sign him, which means you need to protect him. So you can't go wrong with getting a guy, Monroe Freeling, who could play left tackle for you. Again, I know they got the tackle from North Carolina State a few years ago in the league now. I'm blanking on his name.
Ike Ekwonu.
Yeah. So you can get your bookend tackle now. You figure probably Freeling plays right is my guess, but either way, I like the pick. Is that sexy in terms of he's not going to sell a lot of jerseys, but he's going to keep Bryce Young upright, and that will sell jerseys. And that will get you hopefully back to the playoffs of your Panthers.
Yeah, 6'7", 315, almost 35-inch arms, really good athlete. 9.99 on the RAS out of 10. The relative.
So Philly knew whatever they wanted. They have already got it. You just point that out.
So 9.99 out of 10 on the relative athletic score. He's played the right side and the left side. Probably a left tackle. Here comes Philly.
And okay, you have to ruin it, so I won't say who it is.
Makai Lemon. All right.
Okay, so
I don't love it as a Cowboys fan because Lemon is a fantastic player. One of the most fun scouts that I did just because of how dangerous he is with the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
And I'll get to those stats in a minute, but you go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, all I was just going to really say is that for the main three guys, in terms of the tier one receivers, he probably has the most speed.
Yeah.
And again, not saying that the Eagles don't have speed already, because again, I think Smith has nice speed. Brown's just a freak. But again, like we talked about, the rumors are AJ Brown will most likely not be with the team post June 1.
Yeah, and I think this pretty much seals it, right?
I think this right here is the Eagles telling the world whether we are cutting him or whether we are trading him, whether it be to New England, which has been the rumor, or somewhere else, AJ Brown would not be with us next year. And so they trade, kind of like what the Cowboys did earlier. You know, they traded 2/5 to move up that one to get their guy. The Eagles obviously found their guy, Lemon, and, you know, keep that offense going as best we can. Again, it's going to be interesting just because that offense not a high volume offense in terms of passing yards, especially Brown's not going to be there. So I don't know stat wise what he does or doesn't do next year, but he's a good player. I think he's somebody that for sure is going to be going that wide receiver 2 role for the Eagles, and, you know, probably play mostly the slot. Smith probably goes more outside now, which, you know,
He can do.
And we're just going to have to see what happens, you know, with it. But again, I think if you're a Cowboys fan, yeah, you know, you're not like jumping for joy saying they screwed up the pick, but you're not being like, holy crap, like this guy's going to tear me apart for the next, you know, 5 to 7 years. It's just a good pick.
Well, the funny thing is the last time the Eagles did draft day trade business with the Cowboys, it was also for a receiver. It was for Devontae Smith.
For Devontae Smith, and that worked out for them. Worked out for the Cowboys too. So, you know, does that mean from their perspective what happens?
Are we about to get another Micah Parsons?
We don't know, but there is a question here from Jeremy, especially if Jeremy, you did a nice shout.
Oh, I answered it in the chat, but he asked about RJ Maryland's draft project. You got the wrong SMU tight end, buddy. Matthew Hibner. Matthew Hibner's the guy to watch out for.
RJ Maryland's a lot of fun. I've been to an SMU game about once a year the last couple of years. Try to keep up with them. My cousin is in the band for them, so definitely have a soft spot for the Ponies. Probably going to be a day 3 guy from Maryland. I would say later day 3 is my guess.
So I want to just go ahead and read this bit off about Makai Lemon. So he had a drop rate of 2.5%. For a guy who's on the smaller side, he is 5'11", 192. He caught over 71% of contested targets.
That's impressive, guys.
Forced 21 missed tackles and picked up 50 first downs through the air.
Yeah.
He is dangerous with the ball in his hands, and I actually compared him to another USC receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And if you keep
I think he's a very good player. He was number 12 on my board. For them to get him at 20, I think is a steal.
Yeah, no, it's a good pick. I just think that he's just the type of guy that he's a good player, is going to cause issues in this league. I just don't know if he's going to be a game changer, but the Eagles don't care. They got their guy.
They got their guy.
They got good value. And especially giving 2 fourths, I would say good trade for them.
And coming back to the Cowboys, because we are Cowboys fans, so for them to use 2 5s to go up and ensure nobody jumped them for their guy, it's great because you've replaced those with 2 4th-rounders, a compensatory pick, and then kind of a mid to late 4th-round pick to go with your pick at
23 now.
Well, yeah, but I mean they pick at 112, so I think they got 114, right? So I think they're picking 112. Let me check.
I'm trying to
see which one of us finds this first.
They got the Cowboys.
Yeah, 114 and 137 were the 4s
170 and 180. So 177 and 180. So if you're the Cowboys,
so they turn that into 114, 137. So they don't pick in the second. But if you wanted to move up, you have 92, and now you have 3 4th-round picks plus the 152 in the 5th to go up and try and get somebody. So I also wouldn't be surprised if Houston got on the phone with them and said, "There's this run on tackles going. We want to go and make sure we get our guy," and they drop back another time to try and pick up a third or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it's certainly possible.
And again,
or maybe another 4. I actually don't know if Houston has it. No, they do. They have a 4. 106.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here just because, again, at this point, the elite talent is starting to dwindle a little bit. And I'm talking about the elite guys.
Yeah, and I'll roll my big board through so we could see.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Jermod McCoy, again, we know his issues, but Thieneman at 18, Hood at 19. So we're out of the guys who were top 15, Jermod McCoy aside.
Yeah. And so new guys that are being added for those who were paying attention.
Yeah, Malachi Lawrence joined, as well as Casey Concepcion, the receiver from A&M.
Yeah, Malachi Lawrence, edge out of Central Florida that we talked about. That there's been some smoke with the Cowboys there potentially, so it's possible that could have been their pick the whole time.
In case they pick him, I'm going to pull something up at the risk of looking very ridiculous. But I'm just going to pull it up, and I'm going to save it.
Just in case.
I'm going to save it for later. And if it comes up, it comes up.
If it doesn't, then oh well. You just wasted 30 seconds.
And I'll share my screen if we get to it.
But before we get there, looks like Pittsburgh has their pick in. They're doing some theatrics right now before somebody eventually announces it. Where do we think that might be going? Just because obviously we know that's going to impact what the Chargers may do at 22, then from our perspective, especially Cowboys at 23.
Yeah, so just looking at the team needs, I think offensive line, again, is something that could go here. I don't think they're taking a quarterback here.
Yeah.
Receiver. So I think Omar Cooper could be an option here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Casey Concepcion if they prefer him. And I think that's why Philly decided they needed to get ahead of these teams to get Lemon. I think Pittsburgh was the team they were really worried about. Real quick, while they're doing the theatrics, Daniel asked, who do we think the Cowboys are targeting with this trade down? I think Keldrick Falk is a name to watch, and I think Malachi Lawrence is the other name to watch.
Yeah, I think those two would make the most sense because I don't think they go secondary again, but if they do,
Colton Hood.
As I would say, Colton Hood or Chris Johnson.
Get your corner.
Are the other two guys. My guess.
I love both those guys.
If I were them, and I think the problem is we don't know.
Hold on. The bus is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was
just going to say, I don't know if we know enough about what the Cowboys, like in guys to feel confident from a D-line perspective because Lawrence and Falk are two different guys. Very different.
Lawrence is more your stand-up edge. Who will give you a lot of pass rush juice.
He's the guy that's going to get you sacks.
And Falk is going to be your really high-level defender. Here comes the Steelers pick. I'm going to guess Omar Cooper. Maxi Hanachor, so another offensive tackle off the board.
Okay, so that's kind of maybe hurts Dallas in a trade back potential just because there was a team that wanted him.
Maybe. You still have Caleb Loam, who's really the last one standing.
Loam was the last.
So if the Chargers don't take him.
Which I don't think they will, but again, we don't know. Yeah, I mean, looking right now at the board, I guess other guys in terms of if you're the Cowboys, who they might look at. Again, Peter Woods is up there. I don't think
Peter Woods would be really fascinating because I think he can give you some flexibility as a 1, a 3, and even a 5. I think he can do all of it. I think he gives you a lot more flexibility than Keldrick Falk.
And definitely a down year in 25, 24 had better pass rushing numbers. So if you wanted a guy from an interior perspective to give pressure, I could see him again. I don't think they're going to go linebacker here. I think especially now that they've got all these additional 4th rounders, they may wait for that until maybe trade up in the 3rd to get a guy if someone falls.
You're saying a linebacker?
I don't think they go linebacker.
Yeah, I think if they do, Jacob Rodriguez or C.J. Allen are both possibilities. But I do want to talk a bit about Maxi Hanachor from Arizona State.
Absolutely.
Really interesting player. Didn't play football until junior college. Didn't play in high school. So he's really, really inexperienced.
He's raw.
He is, but he's not. Like you see him refit his hands. You see the technique and the footwork looks really good. excellent athlete, didn't give up any sacks, did give up 14 pressures and had 8 penalties. So still some things to clean up, but being as talented as he is and being as just tough and sound as he is for a guy who has played football for a very short amount of time, really intriguing for his upside. So I think the Steelers got a pretty good one here.
No, I like it from their perspective. Again, they got, I think, Broderick Jones 2-ish years ago, right? The tackle from Georgia.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going so well, though.
I don't think it is. That's my point being that they try to invest that line. They're going to try again.
Iheanacho was 26 on my big board, so he was just off. He would have been the next addition on.
Yeah, but
if
I
someone
think
ahead of him
offensive tackle is a position that even if it's maybe not BPA, that's when you reach for a tad, and I like the idea of what they did. Then
Chargers pick is in. I think Peter Woods or Caden McDonald could maybe be the pick here along the interior of that defensive line. Maybe an edge.
Yeah, there's a lot of edges.
Akeem Mesidor, perhaps.
Again, I don't think Falk goes here because he's a little too small to be as inside as they supposedly want, but it's also possible.
But they could view him as an edge.
Yeah.
So I think if Falk doesn't go here, I'm thinking Dallas takes him next.
That would be.
Although they might still try to move down again. We'll see.
Again, I think they have options. I think they would love to move down. The question is, someone want to come up. But.
Yeah. And I think it would be for Caleb Lomu. He's the last high-level offensive tackle on the board. There's still some really good interior linemen available, but the drop-off from Lomu to the next guy, I think is pretty substantial.
It's a lot.
All right, here comes Mr. Goodell with the Chargers selection.
And the winner is, a.k.a. the pick will be
Akeem Mesidor. Really, really good pick. Really talented pick.
We talked about him earlier. A guy that one of the more ready, especially defensive linemen coming in, especially on the edge side. So we know, obviously, from their perspective, Khalil Mack is still there, but obviously aging. Just more pass rush. Can't have enough of him. This is a guy, again, that he is from Canada, so I don't remember if he played in high school or not, and part of the reason why he lasted in college as long as he did, or if it was a...
Well, the reason he was in college as long as he was he had a bunch of injury concerns. Yeah. He had some real issues with the foot, and he was finally healthy this year and just kicking butt. 20.8% pass rush win rate, 50 hurries, 18 hits, 13 sacks. Not great against the run, but again, somebody who just got better and better in the playoffs and did a lot of damage. Mitch asked Zion Young. Maybe there's guys I like better.
I think there's guys better in that, especially.
I think I would prefer. I like R. Mason Thomas a lot. I think he's too small for them. Malachi Lawrence, Keldrick Falk are the two names I'm looking at, or if they want to double dip at corner or in the secondary, Colton Hood and Chris Johnson both make a lot of sense. Dallas's pick is not in yet. Doesn't mean anything. There's still 4 minutes, so it hasn't been very long.
But they're definitely either working the phones or they are trying to figure out who they're going to pick. This is not an obvious choice. Also, again, I don't think they go with it, but BPA, Dylan Thieneman is still there.
He is.
I don't think they go with him because they obviously just got Downs, and I don't think, even though, yes, hypothetically you draft for 3 to 5 years and not just next year, you did just sign Thompson. You still have Malik Hooker there, so I don't think you're going to want a free safety. But in terms of BPA, that could be a fun pick if it happened. Don't think it will, though. I think it will be probably some kind of an edge guy. I don't think they go corner necessarily. They did bring in some guys that they're going to hope are going to be better, and some other guys that have been in the system for a little while, like a Kalen Carson, who they're probably going to hope steps up a little bit. So I'm not sure they're going to want to invest in that. Again, my guess is Malachi Lawrence is the pick, just because I think if you're going to get a guy in the first, you want the pass rushing upside. I don't think he's the best player. I think I have Falk higher, but they're different players.
I have Lawrence higher, but I think Falk is what they're looking for at that 4-eye, 5-tech spot, just a really strong run defender. He's only 20 years old. Looked like he was going to be a top 5 pick, but the pass rush chops just haven't come along yet. But that's why they went and hired BT Jordan. Real quick on the Zion Young thing, he's a good player. I just think he's more of a traditional 4-3 end, and with the Cowboys moving to the 3-4, I know nickel is base, but I just don't think it's what they're looking for. I might be wrong. Daniel asked who's best on board. It's still Jermon McCoy, Dylan Thieneman, Colton Hood, Peter Woods, in my opinion, Chris Johnson, Omar Cooper, Caden McDonald, Malachi Lawrence, and Casey Concepcion. That's the top 10 on my personal board. Josh, I don't know if you want to rattle yours off.
Yeah, I mean,
Cowboys pick is in, so they're not trading out.
I didn't really. Some other guys you didn't mention that could potentially be consideration. How the defensive end from A&M.
I think the arms are too short.
Again, just don't think he will be. Again, we talked Peter Woods already. Linebacker wise, again.
How funny is it? This is the second Cowboys pick and they're on commercial.
I know, it's
so classic.
Crazy. ESPN hates us. We talked about Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker out of Texas Tech. A couple other linebackers I'm just going to mention. Again, don't think they will be there, but there's been some smoke at some point. C.J. Allen, the linebacker out of Georgia, and then Anthony Hill, linebacker out of Texas.
Yeah. Personally, I have the linebackers. I have C.J. Allen 37 and Rodriguez 40. So it would be a reach, but I would also understand just because of the dire need at the position. Although my gut kind of tells me that they want to try and trade for a veteran there.
The other guy, again, that we talked about in your top board, but given the news about George Pickens, do they maybe go Omar Cooper? Not saying that.
Maybe, again, not a great fit just with CD being a slot guy. I think the better one-to-one comparison would be a Denzel Boston.
And I would agree. I think if you want an outside guy, Boston's probably the best outside guy.
Yeah, Boston's a really interesting player. Got some like Drake London to him.
Yeah.
6'4", 212. Caught 77% of contested catches. He'd go up and just moss people. Good player. I think he would kind of be your Pickens replacement. We'll kind of see here. But here comes Roger Goodell with the pick.
We're gonna see what they're thinking here.
Scott MIZ for Zion Young. Again, I don't think it's a fit. I might be wrong. I wouldn't hate the pick. I think there's better fits for what Dallas wants. But again, new defensive coordinator, I don't really know. But I don't know how much smoke there was around him.
Did not see a lot, but we'll find out.
Malachi Lawrence. Okay, now I can show my little thing here. So I think you had another person end up in the studio instead of in the chat.
Did I? Hold on.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Elliot, you're gone.
Yeah.
All right. So one second here. Let me pull up. So you talk about Malachi Lawrence real quick.
So again, this is a guy that we've talked about a decent amount tonight. Again, he is not the most ready today. I think we can agree on that. But I disagree.
No, I do disagree.
And again, you have him higher than me.
I have him 24th on my board. They picked him 23. I think that's fine value.
Again, I think he has a little bit of work to do, in my opinion. Again, my opinion. But but of the people left on the board, he is the best. If you need a guy to get a sack, you want that outside. The idea of a Micah Parsons, the Marcus Ware, a guy that is going to get you potentially 10+ sacks. It's him. He's bendy. He's long. You have him 6'4". Was it 263-ish? I think is what that says, right? What do you have him listed?
6'4", 253.
253. Sorry, couldn't read that there.
But, so finish off, and then I want to show you this, and then then I'll tell you why I disagree.
And again, but he did a lot of great things at Central Florida, and I think that if you're a Cowboys fan, you got your guaranteed guy in Downs, you got a little bit more of the potential guy in Lawrence, and you should be happy. And with that, Jared, show us what we got.
Okay, sorry, 1 second. I'm updating the big board
He's
here.
already in for Cleveland, so
Yeah, well, they can wait. They're Cleveland. All right. So here we go. Ready?
yeah.
Hold on. I need to move this. And then, okay. Look at that. I'm not saying he's DeMarcus Ware. That would be asinine. But look at just the physical similarities and their relative athletic
scores. Out of
scores.
10, you're talking about.
Yeah. Now, granted, Lawrence didn't run the shuttle or the 3-cone.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of stiffness there. So, he's not quite the Gumby that DeMarcus Ware was. However, the reason I think he is the reason I think he's more ready than you're giving him credit for is some of his pass rush sequencing is super high level. And I can't show the all 22, which is really unfortunate, but you'll see him long arm and then push pull into a cross chop. You'll see him dip and rip. You'll see him swim back inside and work that way after he's kind of set the tackle up. I do think he's ready, and more than anything, he gives you something that you just don't have right now, which is legitimate juice off the edge.
And that's the thing, he has juice, and I think that's why, if you're in a question, why did we pick him over insert other defensive linemen?
Because you look at a guy like Izaraku looks like he should be explosive, but he's not. He's more the smaller but kind of like technical guy. Lawrence ran a 4.5 240, jumped 40 inches, 10-10 on the broad, which means he's super explosive, 1.58 on the 10-yard shuttle. He had a 19.2% pass rush win rate. The run game was less good, 4.2% on the run stop rate.
I would say this is a guy.
And he has a lot of almost plays. His closing speed is legit, but there are times where, again, the bend is good, not great. And so when he's going into finish, he doesn't always get there. But I really, really like this pick. You coming out of here with Caleb Downs and Malachi Lawrence, your defense is a heck of a lot better than it was,
again,
3 hours ago.
If you're a Cowboys fan, Caleb Downs is an A+ already.
Yeah.
Either way, the fact you got Lawrence too, which again, I don't know if he's going to make the immediate.
Also, you went DeMarcus Ware to DeMarcus Lawrence and now Malachi Lawrence. There's some weaving going on. But anyway, go ahead.
All I was just going to say is that I don't know if he's going to make the immediate sack impact next year.
No, and most rookies don't, especially if you're taking them in the late 20s. But for him to come in and he'll be your third best guy behind Rashawn Gary and Donovan Izaraku.
I would say
he'll be competing with the Sam Williams of the world, and maybe they go out and try and get another vet. But he adds to the depth, and you really needed it. And again, just in those third and long situations, gives you that explosiveness off the edge where he could just win right away, dipping right around and flatten to the quarterback.
Yeah, and again, I think he's going to be, from a Cowboys perspective, competing with their Sam Williams or Maris Leah fouls to begin with. I think, to your point, he will eventually beat both those guys out for defensive end / OLB3, depending on how you want to define that as.
Yeah.
But long term, again, he's a nice piece to have. He's got juice, and you as a Cowboys fan should be happy.
Very.
I think you did about as good. I think the only thing that could have made this like holy crap A+ is maybe if Ruben Bain fell to 20, but I think that was very unrealistic. The fact he went to 15 was a little surprising from my perspective, but
here comes Cleveland. I'm going to say Omar Cooper here, and they take their receiver. Or Denzel Boston. I think they could go either way.
Denzel Boston. Boston and
Concepcion. So they still go receiver. Different receiver.
You got a little bit of a Jerry Jeudy vibe already, so I'm a little surprised from the type of player they picked. But,
sure.
Again, I think he had a great freshman year. I think he went freshman of the year at NC State when he was there originally. Last year transferred over to A&M, had a great year. The combo of him and Mario Craver was a great combo that A&M was able to get to the playoffs with. Unfortunately, for their sake, they did lose to Miami the first round of playoffs in College Station. But again, we talked about juice with Lawrence. I think Concepcion is going to give some juice to that Cleveland offense that I think they just need help. Obviously, they got Judkins last year. They've had Judy for a little while now. They just lost Njoku this past offseason, so you lose a receiving threat again. Obviously, different style of receiving threat.
Right.
But again, they're showing him doing some special team stuff right now on TV. Again, I think at this point, a lot of this is going to be they're all ice cream. What flavor do you like? So I think if that's the flavor they like, then I can't say much in terms of disliking the pick.
Yeah, I kind of liken him to an Emmanuel Sanders. Really good speed, really good route runner, really savvy. Heck of a punt returner. Makes a lot of guys miss. 14 missed tackles this year. The big concern was his drop rate was 10.3%. The drops have been an issue for him.
I would say Jerry Jeudy.
His hands are a little on the small side, 9.25. Mekhi Lemons are actually smaller, and it didn't bother him. But the drops were an issue for him. That aside, just a really, really dangerous pass catcher who can do a lot of damage with the ball in his hands.
Again, I think with whoever's going to start a quarterback for them, that'd be Watson. If he comes back and is healthy enough to win that job, Sanders, Gabriel. If he's able to get the ball in his hands, then I think he can make some plays, give him some juice, and just another building block.
So I like what you're saying here, Mitch. Cooper and Boston staring them in the face, although those guys could both get to 33 and you may not need to make a move.
Yeah, I say that's the thing. I think there's so many receivers,
Like, who do you need to fade here? Because right now the Bears are on the clock. Let's go ahead and get that going.
I don't think they go receiver.
No, because I think they're really happy with Burden and Odunze.
Yeah.
They traded DJ Moore, obviously.
To Buffalo, so I don't think.
I'm thinking maybe a TJ Parker here, maybe a Peter Woods who's still on the board.
I could see that potentially.
Dylan Thieneman could finally end that slide.
Thieneman's a guy that I'm a little surprised his last. Again, we know safety tends to fall traditionally. I think we can all agree with that. But a little surprised he's lasted this long. I will say I could see Thieneman, again, 29 to Kansas City, 26 maybe to Buffalo, playing that Micah Hyde type role that he did for a long time there. If you're talking about guys in Miami gives you talent, you just don't really know 100%. But if I'm the Bears, I think their offense, they put a lot of resources to it the last couple of years. So my guess is somewhere on the defensive side right here.
Yeah. So real quick, going back to who might the Jets need to fade. So again, we don't think Chicago would take a receiver. Buffalo could, but they did just go and spend a second-round pick on DJ Moore.
Yeah, that's the only reason why
I think they're more likely to go edge or linebacker. San Fran picks 27.
They just got Pearsall, so I don't know. I mean, obviously Ayuk is probably on the
I think they could take a receiver if Caleb Lomu doesn't get to them. I think if Lomu does get to them, that's probably the pick. Maybe they go interior line, but maybe that's one receiving option you might need to watch out for. 28, Houston, I don't think, unless the smoke about Nico Collins is real, I don't think they're taking a receiver. Yeah. The Chiefs at 29.
Probably not. They talk Tyson.
They could. Chiefs at 29 are a threat.
I would say
Miami at 30 is a threat.
I think
New England at 31 is a threat, but if they're going to trade for A.J. Brown, less of a threat. And then 32, Seattle's not taking a receiver.
So, a couple of landmines there.
Yeah. So,
but I think at this point, everyone is a landmine in terms of, at this point, there's always one or two teams until you get to that one or two picks before.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a bit of a drop off after Boston. I have Boston at 27 and my next receiver, Antonio Williams, at 48. I like Chris Bell more, but with the injury, I have him down at 54. I probably shouldn't have if I still have McCoy as high as I do, but
again, I think
that's what it is.
He's one of these guys. I think there's a guy in the last few years that the talent's there, the medical makes him go down, and obviously right now the team that's in the medical is, not worth it. But we're to that point. There might be a team that says, you know what, we're good right now, and we don't care. He may come in maybe midway through later in the year, but he's there for the playoffs. So it is possible that that slide does stop. I don't think so. Again, I told you earlier, you asked who's the guy that's going to slide. I know it was a little bit cheating when I said
McCoy.
but McCoy was the real guy.
Who did I say? I said Bain, I think. He made it to 15.
He made the 15, slid out of that top 10.
Boy. You mind turning the fan on? Your boy's sweating.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Texans and Bills trade.
Okay.
So I'll bet the Texans are trying to jump San Francisco to get Caleb Lomu. But you know what that means? We get to use our trade alert banner. Thank you to our buddy Brandon for helping me with that idea.
Shout out to Brandon. So obviously, again, it looks like we had
Mitch, when you got the details of that trade or anyone else, if y'all wouldn't mind putting them in here, was that like the 5th or 6th trade we've had? Bears select. Oh my gosh. Bears select.
I'll call Goodell.
Dylan Thieneman. Okay.
Again,
really good value here.
Yeah, like the value. I can't remember. Did they lose Brisker this offseason? The safety that came from Penn State. I think they may. The reason why I'm saying that they lost.
I'll look.
Because I know they signed. We talked about Kobe Bryant already. The corner / safety from Seattle that they signed, but I think they lost Javon Brisker. He did sign one of those
Brisker is now with Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So again, they lost a starting safety. They draft a guy who can play. Again, I think he's be better than more the free safety style role than he will be a strong safety, but it's a good value pick.
Yeah, and he can do a little bit of everything. So here's a guy when he was at Purdue had a ton of productivity when they were playing him deeper, getting a lot of interceptions. At Oregon, he played a little closer to the line, and he was still really good. I think he's another guy who's versatile. I don't think he's as sound in man as he is in zone, but really good athlete at 6 foot 201, ran a 4.35, 41-inch vertical, 9.71 on the relative athletic score, only an 8.3% missed tackle rate. He hits hard and he hits well. 5 forced incompletions, 2 picks.
Solid player.
Really good player. He's got the range. He's got the temperament to come and play downhill in the box. So for Chicago, I really like this pick. And then you just look at the value. This is a guy who I had at 18th on my board. So getting him at 25, got to feel pretty good about that.
No, I think, again, you're Chicago. You made a deep run last year. Great game in the playoffs against Los Angeles. Just didn't, pull through, unfortunately. Trying to give yourselves a lot of tools. And, again, I think Thieneman is a guy that's going to help. I mean, again, he did great on a very not good Purdue team. I think we can all say that.
Yeah.
Decides to transfer to a better established team. I think that's probably the nice way to say it. In Oregon, maybe statistically didn't have quite the same amount of picks that he did, but we do know he can be a ball hawk there. And, again, it's a good pick. And at this point, again, it's all about flavors of ice cream. At this point, the late first in this specific style of draft that we have. There we go. Yeah, let's go. And I think the Bears got a guy that's going to be a good safety for them. A guy you could see them signing a second contract. And we are seeing another trade here. It looks like the Dolphins are trading up to 27 and are trading 30 and 90 to San Francisco.
Wow, they're getting a third for that move? Okay, then. I think the Dolphins have like 4 third-round picks. So they have the capital to spend.
So obviously
they're trying to get ahead of.
There's some. Well, the question is who?
Who was at 26? Buffalo. So they're trying to get ahead of Buffalo after they just dropped back 2 slots.
And we know that.
If San Francisco is already willing to trade out, then I think Houston's definitely taking Caleb Lomu here.
That would make.
I feel pretty confident in that.
That would make a lot of sense for them. They could use a line help.
What was I looking at?
I don't know.
Oh, I remember. Dolphins have 4 third-round picks, 75, 87, 90, and 94. So they can afford to give up one of those 90 to go up and get their guy. Maybe they felt like they had to go and get get Omar Cooper or Denzel Boston ahead of
that could be an option.
Buffalo.
Again, yeah,
perhaps.
It's at this point we're
more of a gap scheme guy. So apparently I haven't seen the pick, but I guess Mitch has.
Yeah, Mitch,
I don't see Lomu as a gap scheme guy, so maybe they went in another direction here. No spoilers. We'll all see it together here,
we'll wait,
or at least Josh and I will see it together.
Mitch already saw it. Mitch got it ruined from either online or different stream. Again, we're a few seconds behind, so thanks a lot to the Disney company and Hulu for that.
Said Miami came up to. Sorry, I'm just prepping.
Yeah, Miami is at 27.
I wonder if maybe Houston went with an interior guy here.
That's a gap. Normally means that, but we'll find out.
Keelan Rutledge, yeah.
Okay.
Mitch is right. Although I will say I think Rutledge is a much better athlete than he gets credit for.
And this was a guy I did start seeing some late first round talk, maybe a little early, but obviously they wanted probably more truly interior than a tackle.
Yeah.
I do know they made a lot of moves this offseason. Houston, I can't rattle off all of them, but they obviously wanted someone more interior, and they got their guy, probably the second rated true guard probably in this draft.
I'm a little surprised that San Francisco would trade away from the tackle here.
Well, unless they think unless they think he's going to slide more, because Miami picked Proctor, so we know Miami's not going.
Right, but Kansas City could take him if they want the offensive tackle.
But they got Simmons last year, so you're going to, again, you could play on.
That's true.
But I think maybe they're just like, hey, third round capital, we can use all the picks we can get, and still get our guys. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Again, we're getting towards the end of the draft over here, so we're not going to go with who, quote, won the first round and all that stuff yet.
Dallas.
And honestly, you can, and again, and I'm not even saying this as a Cowboys fan, I think you make the argument they did.
Yeah,
I think
you definitely could.
I think you can make the argument they got more cap. Put it this way, at the end of the day, they got more out of the draft than they came in with in terms of point value.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I think they win. Again, I think Tampa getting Ruben Bain at 15 is a win in terms of value. Some other picks I think that people are going to be pretty happy with. I think Washington, Sonny Styles was another one they're going to be pretty happy with in terms of value. I think the Giants and Francis Maui at 10.
Giants got a haul. I mean, as you would expect, two top 10 picks.
Two top 10, so they're another one that you have to put. I think, honestly, both New York teams. And I'm not even saying that because we've had a lot of Jets talk here today, which don't know if I would have necessarily said that at the beginning of the night. But, yeah, you got a guy in Bailey, again, my best edge. And then you got, a weapon in Sadiq as another guy that I like.
By the way, Frankie, he's crying tomorrow. He is crying. He actually probably doesn't know who Malachi Lawrence is, so he might criticize that one because he doesn't know ball. But
yeah.
Real quick on Keelan Rutledge. I have a third on him, but I get it from a mentality standpoint. This was some super fun film to watch because it's like this dude was playing Halo. He was teabagging everybody he possibly could. He would finish blocks and then let the defender hear about it. I do think he's a better athlete than he gets credit for. Like I said, I think you kind of see him moving reasonably well laterally, well enough to make those reach blocks. And combo and then climb to the second level. I think he's a better run blocker than he is in pass pro right now. I think that's where he kind of gets in trouble. But if you can clean that up, I think you've just got a really quality player there.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I think value-wise, maybe a little earlier than some may have had, but I think at this point in the late first,
yeah, you can.
You gotta just get your guy. Obviously, the Texans felt like he was their guy. And again, we talked about earlier, that fifth-year option.
Yeah, the fifth-year option is big because Houston does pick again at 38. So early tomorrow, and maybe they could have gotten Rutledge there.
But at some point, you got to think, is it worth overpicking for your guy?
Nope.
And the answer is some teams are going to say we're going to wait and we're going to get lucky. Some guys are going to wait and they're going to get sniped.
And here's the other thing. I can sit here and talk all I want about my big board. It's a little different because I'm doing it as just like kind of in a vacuum. And these teams are doing it based off how they view the players, how they're going to fit in their schemes. They'll look at guys that I have really high and won't even have them on their board because it's not a scheme fit.
It could be medical issues. It could be they talk.
Could be anything.
It could be they talked to the janitor of their high school and they said like this guy, bad character.
Yeah.
And that
or everything could check out and they're just like, you know what, he's not a fit for what we want, and that's fine.
It's like dating. You could be, dating a 10, but she has an annoying voice and it's just not. I mean, again, it's possible. As an example, so.
All right, so Miami back on the clock here after trading up using the 90th pick.
I mean, again, I would assume Omar Cooper because they're so desperate.
I think receiver's an option. Maybe they're trying to get ahead of Buffalo for an edge rusher.
Yeah.
I know Keldrick Falk and R. Mason Thomas, I think, are names to watch.
Falk, I'm a little surprised has fallen this. I mean, yes and no. I think talent-wise, I'm surprised he's fallen this far. Obviously, I know the NFL team supposed to be viewing him as more that kind of what we used to call a 3-4, run stopping edge, or now kind of that, 4-eye type of.
Miami's pick is coming in here. Sorry.
No, you're good. Also got something to say when the pick is in.
Chris Johnson, really good player.
The guy that we were talking about that the Cowboys might have been interested in. So, Jared, why don't you talk about him a little bit more? Just I know you spent a fair amount of time on him.
Yeah, so Chris Johnson, 6 foot, 193. I was a little worried about the long speed, but he ended up running a 4.4 and showed all the required athleticism that you need from a top-tier corner. Check this out. 18 receptions allowed, and I'm going to compare him to Mansour Delane, who obviously went number 6. Now, obviously, the competition's a little different at San Diego State than what LSU plays, but 18 receptions allowed on 43 targets. Delane gave up 14 on 35 targets. Delane gave up 165 yards. Chris Johnson gave up 185. They both gave up 0 touchdowns. Delane had 2 picks. Johnson had 4. 31.3 passer rating against Delane, 16.1 against Chris Johnson. You'd be better off just throwing the ball in the ground every play. Oh, Buffalo trades again with New England. So the Patriots are now on the clock.
Do you think Coach Vrabel had any inside information for this trade?
Well, he had the inside information. That's for sure.
Too soon, probably.
If they are going to, in fact, trade for AJ Brown, then this probably isn't a receiver. Real quick on Chris Johnson, though. Only allowed 42% completion percentage, 40% for Delane. This dude's a stud. This dude's an absolute stud. I think he fell down the board because of him playing at San Diego State. But for Miami to grab him here, I think is really great value. I think he's a really solid player, and I think Miami is going to be really happy with that. Pats are on the clock. Maybe an offensive lineman, maybe an edge. So I could see Caleb Lomu going here. Will Campbell kind of struggled. Maybe they shift him over to the right or inside. And then they lost Kayvon Chaisson in free agency.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys at defensive end that are still here. I know Zion Young that we were talking about earlier.
Zion Young could be a really good fit here. He just screams Patriot.
Yeah. Again, we talked about Cassius Howe a little bit earlier for the Cowboys. I think he's not the pick.
Let's see. We got.
Oh, Goodell finally fixed his hair. Thank God. That's been bugging me throughout the picks.
Caleb Lomu.
Okay.
So there it is. They got the offensive tackle. They jumped Kansas City to do it, and San Francisco. So making sure that they get their guy. And like I said, I think there's a pretty significant drop-off after Lomu. I have Caleb Tiernan next. And I don't love Lomu. I have Lomu on my board at 65. But the next tackle after him, Caleb Tiernan at 104.
Yeah, so I think for that kind of drop, it is worth the pay up to get your guy. Again, whether that means he starts on the right or that means he starts on the left, you move Will Campbell somewhere else. That is going to be up for what the Patriots feel is going to be best. But at this point, I think I had I think a second round grade on him. Yeah, a second round grade. I don't have any other offensive tackles in my top 60. So at this point, again, they went up for what they wanted. Like I keep saying, they had their flavor of ice cream. They got it. So
Lomu's a really good athlete. Struggles a bit with power. But good enough that they moved Spencer Fano from left tackle to right tackle.
Yeah.
Something to be considered there. He's got better physical traits just from a size perspective than Fano. I think Fano's a better athlete, but that's no knock on Lomu, who's very athletic himself. Fano's just a freak. But Lomu didn't give up any sacks, only 8 pressures and 4 penalties. Competition wasn't the best, and he kind of got exposed a little bit against the Texas Tech duo of David Bailey and Romello Height, which is kind of to be expected.
That was a game that I think that people thought Utah could be legit because of those 2 bookend tackles. So obviously now win the first round.
Yeah.
That is kind of the David Bailey national coming out party. And then obviously Romello Height that you mentioned that I think goes at some point tomorrow night.
Let me work on fixing up the big board here since we've had a couple guys come off of it.
Yeah, so Kansas City,
where do you think Kansas City could be going here?
Again,
so they grabbed Delane early.
What
if they double up and took Colton Hood or Jermon McCoy?
They could.
They lost their 2 starting corners.
I don't know if they go McCoy again just because of the injury issues. My guess is that they'll probably either go with a Colton Hood or an Avian Terrell type because I don't know who they have at that nickel to replace what Trent McDuffie was doing. Could be Pounds also, the corner from Indiana. Pons, out of Indiana. In terms of the type of player that he is, not sure I would go with that. But if it was going to be something else, I'm trying to take a look here. I'm missing, because receiver, Omar Cooper is the best receiver I have.
Peter Woods could be interesting as someone to kind of groom behind Chris Jones.
That's another option.
Denzel Boston, maybe.
Boston. Jeremy Bernard is there also as another receiver.
Bernard's a good player.
In terms of depending on what they want. Other edges that we talked a little bit about R. Mason Thomas.
R. Mason Thomas is really good. He's small, but he doesn't play small.
Again, I don't think he's the pick here. It is another guy. And the other one, we're looking for the what the heck pick. Gabe, is it Jacques or Yakis?
It's pronounced Akis.
It is Akis.
When they say the J is silent, it's like completely silent.
So
it's
the
Gabe
defensive end out of Illinois, I know, has been getting a lot of pump up in terms of. I don't think he goes in the first, but if you're talking about a guy like who is this guy? Never heard of him before. Go in the first. That'd be another guy that I have in my top 60 that could potentially go here. Again, I don't think they really need the linebackers.
So real quick, let's reset the board again. We got a couple new entries. McCoy's going to be up there until he's taken. Well, all these guys are, but McCoy's been up there all day.
Yeah.
Colton Hood, Peter Woods, Omar Cooper Jr., Caden McDonald we talked about. Here come the new entries. Denzel Boston, receiver out of Washington. Lee Hunter, defensive tackle at Texas Tech, part of the remarkable Texas Tech defense this past year. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, a safety from Toledo. Mm-hmm. And Brandon Cisse, the corner out of South Carolina. We're on pick 29, so we got 4 picks to go here. Thank you for everyone who's stuck with us. We know you're all friends, you're all buddies, but it really does mean a lot to both of us. We worked really hard on this, and for y'all to be here and hanging out with us means a lot. So thank y'all again.
Yeah, special shout out to Jared, who I know behind the scenes did a lot of the tech stuff, so all the graphics, all the big boards, all 22 video that we started with.
That we got banned for.
So I can officially say that on my things I've accomplished in life that we have gotten banned.
And we got banned from YouTube twice and returned.
And came back both times. Not going to try it 3 times, though. But, yeah, so special shout out to him for all of that work as well.
Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome, yeah.
what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna save it for later just in case, but I don't want to jinx anything. With only 4 picks left, about to be 3, as here comes Roger Goodell with the Chiefs' second selection. Mitch, you may get your wish. One of these receivers may get to you at 33.
I would say Mitch.
It'd be quite a haul, Sadiq, and one of these top-end receivers.
Yeah, you might be a very happy person come tomorrow night.
Let's see what the Chiefs do here first, though. Peter Woods. Oh, hey.
We were just talking about him.
All right.
Okay.
I didn't really think they would do it, but
I mean, at this point, again, they're all graded roughly-ish the same.
So Woods, we kind of talked a bit about earlier. Really interesting guy in that he kind of came into this thing as a top 3 to 5 prospect. All the Clemson guys disappointed this year. His weight really fluctuated a lot. It kind of sounded like they were talking about having him play on the outside again because he kind of played 5-tech and even a bit on the edge. Oh, the Jets traded up. The Jets traded up. Bring out the trade alert.
Uh-oh.
So here come the Jets.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in just a second here, Mitch. We do have some Chiefs fans too. But Peter Woods, there were some rumors that he was supposed to play on the edge this year, and then they came to him and last minute told him he was going to play inside. Yeah. And he was 298, so his weight wasn't where it probably needed to be. If he were to play at the right weight, he's got the movement skills. He's got the strength. There's a couple times he'll kind of get washed, but again, I think that was more to do with not being prepped the right way. So I think this really could be a steal. And I wouldn't be surprised if we come back and Peter Woods is a multi-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I think, again, Peter Woods is someone who I have a little bit of a special place in my heart with. I remember him when he was being recruited by Alabama. He's from the greater Birmingham, Alabama area. Thought he was essentially going to be a Bama lock. Remember watching his commitment and seeing him go to Clemson and being very disappointed because, again, guy who's a 5-star level defensive lineman coming out of high school. But, yeah, those first 2 years at Clemson, he was essentially Christian Wilkins 2.0 in terms of the type of style of player that he was.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, to your point, thought he'd be a top pick this year by talking like top 10 top. I did hear scheme-wise that they did ask him to do some different things this past year than what he had done in previous years. So how true is that? I don't know if we're ever really going to know or not. But if the Chiefs use him closer to what he was used like earlier on in his Clemson career.
Well, he played more on the edge last year.
Yeah.
He did. So, there is some truth to it. What I'm curious about is the weight fluctuation deal. But in any event, 4-1-3. Let's go, Frankie. Small chance C.J. Allen, possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. They jump Buffalo. Buffalo needs a linebacker, so there is a chance this could be a linebacker.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be receiver, even though I know.
Mac, what they give up?
Yeah, that has not come across our.
Here comes Roger Goodell, and the pick is Omar Cooper Jr. Man, what a haul!
Okay, yeah. Again,
I'm real 179. That's great, Mitch. That's great.
I was saying that the Jets were a team that may have won the draft along with Dallas. I
really like what the Jets are doing here.
I think you can make an argument in terms of total talent haul. Getting a guy who's going to be in your starting receiving rotation, probably maybe wide receiver 2 by the end of the year. I know that you still have Shifter. Okay, I thought he was going to say something cool, but he didn't. Anyways, yeah. So Omar Cooper is a guy that's going to, again, you got weapons. That sports car that I'm talking about now, you got upgraded tires.
Yeah. So real quick on Omar Cooper. So I talked a bit about Mekhi Lemon and how ridiculous it was that he forced 21 missed tackles. Omar Cooper forced 27. Omar Cooper Jr. is the best receiver with the ball in his hands. 4.2% drop rate. He's reliable. A lot of what he ran was underneath stuff. So we'll see kind of if the Jets can maybe open up the route tree a little bit. I hope Jets fans don't have PTSD of what was the Western Kentucky receiver they took?
Corey Davis.
Not Corey Davis. The one they took.
Oh,
Mitch, help me out. Who was the Western Kentucky
he was
receiver?
Western Kentucky.
That's what I said. Western
I thought
Kentucky.
you said Western Michigan. That's what I said.
Oh, okay.
I misheard.
Well, he was the Titans anyway. But
I think Corey Davis ended up there. So
yeah, I think so. Mitch, let us know who that Malachi something.
Conley, maybe?
Malachi Conley? That sounds right.
Yeah.
The difference is Cooper runs routes. Cooper runs legit routes. He's got much better hands.
Corley, okay.
Malachi Corley, thank you. Malachi Corley. Cooper's just a much better receiver than Corley was. Corley was special with the ball in his hands.
I think
Cooper is too. Right. Cooper is too, but Cooper can do much more receiver things. He's more Debo Samuel than he is Malachi Corley.
Yeah. So again, I would agree, Mitch. Yeah, I think you can make an argument that basically the New York teams plus Cowboys, I think, are the winners.
Yeah, I mean, coming out of the first round so you're going to have 3 first-round picks in back-to-back years unless something crazy happens.
You never know in this league, but yeah.
But coming out of there with David Bailey, the best pure pass rusher in the class, Kenyon Sadiq, who's a heck of a receiving threat who can also block a little bit to pair with Mason Taylor, and now a Yak King, so to speak, as Mitch said. Like Bills are trading the pick.
Gone to the Titans, it looks like.
They're making me work.
So it looks like the Titans are coming back in probably for someone in the 5th year that we keep talking about, just because that's going to be big for them.
So Titans on the clock.
So Titans already got Carnell Tate earlier in the evening.
They did get Carnell Tate.
So will not be going up for receiver.
Edge, running back, linebacker, all potential needs.
I don't know if they go for the running back, because I think Jadarian Price is.
Well, if they wanted him, you may need to jump Seattle to do it. There's a lot of smoke that Seattle would take Jadarian Price.
Or Washington, even the running back out of Arkansas. I know it's been getting some hype, but I would say if it is a running back for Price, I would agree with you. I don't really have any offensive linemen. Again, plenty of defensive linemen that they could go with here that we've been talking about for a little while.
Defensive linemen?
Yeah, I don't think
Christian Miller could enter the fray. I just added him to my big board in place of Omar Cooper. I don't know if they need a corner, but Colton Hood is still sitting there.
McCoy is still there. I don't know if they do that after the Caleb Farley experiment, but he is still there. McNeil Warren is also there, but again, I don't think you jump to get him necessarily. 2
picks left. The Titans pick is in, and here it comes.
Yeah, I hate that.
Again, thank you guys for sticking with us tonight.
Absolutely.
Through two
YouTube bands.
2 YouTube bands.
Almost 3.5 hours.
All right, Roger Goodell is up, and the Titans are picking. He's been talking for a while. So he's congratulating somebody on something. He's applauding.
Probably for making like $40 million a year for doing nothing.
Arch Manning, Brees, Garrett Wilson, Coop, Sadiq, Mason Taylor, and A.D. Mitchell. Some of those names don't belong. Keldrick Falk.
Okay.
Keldrick Falk.
Him and Jeffrey Simmons stopping a run could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so Falk we talked about. One of the youngest guys in the draft. I think he's still 20.
I believe he is.
6'6", 276. Just didn't have the pass rush production that you thought he was going to have after a sophomore year. In fact, he regressed. Only an 11.6% pass rush win rate, an 8.6% run stop rate, which is pretty high. Only 10% missed tackles, which is pretty low for a defensive lineman. All right, Mitch. Have a good night, my man.
Mitch, you MVP.
Yeah, you were awesome, dude. Thank you. So Falk, he's got the length, 34 3/8-inch arms, pretty good athlete. He just hasn't put it together as a pass rusher, but one of the best edge setters in the draft, really good run defender. And being as young as he is, there's room for him to kind of grow and improve quite a bit.
No, I like it. And again, I think it's a guy, they got value for it. I think they obviously saw that they didn't want to risk in the day 2, because at that point, you got a whole 20 hours, I think, between the end of the first round and when day 2 is going to start for teams to trade and maneuver. So you take advantage of it now. They obviously found their guy that they wanted to play, again, some version of a run-stopping, true defensive end, or he might maybe even become 3-tech-esque on passing downs, potentially, depending on what they want to try to do along with Simmons. So, they moved up for a guy. They got value. I think you can't complain with moving up for a guy and getting value with it. So
yeah, and I'll bet they really didn't give up much. We're not seeing the compensation, but just based on the Jets just moving up a couple spots for just a 5th-round pick, the same sort of deal. That was pick 33.
Yeah.
I think Tennessee had pick 34.
So probably a 4th or 5th is my guess.
Probably another 5th-round. Oh no, they had 35, but probably another 5th-round pick.
Which again, at that point, after really the 4th, those guys are guards.
Yeah, totally. And so for that price to go up, get your guy, secure the 5th-year option. It's a great move.
Yeah, so I guess at this point we got 1 pick left.
Seattle, unless there's a trade to round out the 1st round. Again, a lot of smoke around Jadarian Price.
The running back out of Notre Dame.
The other running back out of Notre Dame.
That was the first time, I believe, 2 running backs in the if he goes, since I want to say Oliver with Cadillac Williams and Ronnie Brown. Don't know if you have that up, but I believe that's the last time 2 running backs in the same school in the 1st round.
Could be.
I cannot think of anybody else since then. So
I'll do a quick Google search. Last running back.
But yeah, so I guess the question that I'm going to ask you while you're doing that. So we talked about some of our winners. I think
Darren McFadden and Felix Jones.
Okay. I should have known that, but I was not.
Seattle's pick is in, so they're not moving out. Colton Hood also a possibility.
Yeah,
here.
they lost some defenders. Colton Hood I could easily see fitting in well with that new defense. So we talked about the winners probably being some combination of the Jets, the Cowboys, and the Giants. Who do you think? I don't want to say losers because the draft as a whole, just this is night one. The teams that have areas to improve upon.
I think the Lions reached a bit on Blake Miller. There were a couple surprises like that, particularly with those tackles. Again, I think Caleb Lomu you had to kind of go up and get, but if you were more aggressive going up, I think you would have gotten a better player. Again, that's just my personal opinion on it. Just trying to think back.
Looking right now at the first. I think one that we're going to look back years later is Ty Simpson 13.
Yeah, that was a question mark for sure.
Other ones, if we're looking at in terms of question marks, looking at
76 on my board is Ty Simpson.
Caden Proctor at 12 is another one that, even though, again, I'm not choosing Bama guys because I dislike them as players, but knowing did they go a little bit before maybe consensus had them.
Yep.
Potentially, the other one probably Caleb Banks for me at 18 is another one. Traits are there, but could you have maybe gotten someone else that could
been a little safer?
Yeah. Those are the 3 that I'm looking at immediately. Again, you could look at Rutledge, but again, when you're 26, you're kind of having to sometimes overpick a little bit more.
Now, give me your favorite draft of a team that only had 1 first-round pick. Because it's easy to say the teams with multiple first-rounders won the draft. And while you're looking at that, Seattle is making their selection here. Goodell's coming to announce it.
I got also in the winners Kansas City as well, getting Delane Woods probably.
But again,
no, I know, yeah. Again, I think you got to respect the Eagles getting Lemon at 20.
Getting Lemon at 20 is big.
I think
Buccaneers getting Ruben Bain at 15 was great.
Was good value.
Bears getting Thieneman at 25, I thought was solid value.
That was solid value.
He's bringing someone out for the Super Bowl champs.
I like Monroe Freeling at 19 for Carolina.
I think it's fine.
I think it was good value, but I like the pick.
I think it's fine. I don't hate it.
Are probably the ones in terms of truly one picks, the ones that I thought got good value / I thought went to the right place. Again, top 10 picks are a little not fair because they're supposed to be quote good. You could say, well, Sonny Styles is 7 with Washington, but I'm like, but Sonny Styles is probably consensus top 10 pick, so that's not really, that should be good but for guys outside the top 10, I would probably go with Bain, for me at least, Bain, Freeling, and then Lemon. So that would be Tampa, Carolina, and then Philly.
I like it. All right, with the 32nd pick, is he going to hand it over to the fan? Looks like he is.
No,
I'm going to say Hood or Price.
pretty pumped. Okay, no.
This could be a minute till we get it. It looks like this guy's pretty fired up.
Schefter,
I love
for me,
it.
so I will not say anything until you see it. I don't know why. For some reason, Schefter ruined some picks for me than all others.
Can't read his lips. Oh, has he not made the selection yet?
Not sure. I'm not gonna say anything because of the
I respect this kid for making the most of his opportunity
Hey
here.
man, dude, you got your moment to shine. So
Jadarian Price. Okay, so now that this is done, I just want to say, and I know I can't prove it because we got banned, but I had tags and highlight videos for all 32 picks, and I'm very proud of that. Very proud. I did about 70 of each. So there was a good chance I was going to get everybody, but you never know.
You never know.
So I'm really proud of myself.
Huge surprises. So again, kudos to you, Jared, for doing your work. And this kind of reminds you a little bit of when they got Penny a few years back.
Yeah.
That one you could say was a questionable pick for them, but I think on their side, knowing they lost Kenneth Walker to Kansas City, they obviously have Zach Charbonnet. That's still there, but they want to repeat. You got to run the ball a little bit. So
so they lost Ken Walker, like you said. Price again obviously shared the backfield with Love. Only had 113 carries, but 674 yards, 11 touchdowns. Fumbles were a bit of an issue. He had 3. He's also just not a proven pass catcher. He had 6 catches this year, no drops. But he only has 15 career catches.
I think definitely not be the third down back. Is what you're saying.
Well, he's got to prove himself.
When I say third down, not the proven third down.
Yeah, he's got to prove himself. He's decent in pass pro. More, he's got a little bit of work to do there. But he forced 32 missed tackles on those 113 attempts, and averaged 3.92 yards after contact per attempt, which is really, really solid. Yeah. I think it's a bit of a reach personally, but again, 32, if you wanted a running back, it is what it is. I like Emmett Johnson a little bit more. I had Jadarian Price 60th overall. So again, not a bad reach, especially at the end of the first.
Think this is the type of thing we've seen. I was looking back at drafts past. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, literally win this slot the year that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl a few years. And this is a popular. We won the Super Bowl the year before. We're right near there. We're going to get this guy that we think could immediately step in and do something, whether he's BPA or not. Again, maybe debatable, but they got a guy that obviously they're comfortable with that does fill a need for them. And at this point, round 1 is officially in the books. So
round 1's officially in the books. I'm curious to see where the Tennessee cornerback duo comes off the board.
Not surprised that again McCoy did not go, but a
little surprised about Hood.
I thought Hood would have gone, but I'm looking right now at ESPN who they have BPAs and some guys that did not go today that I think could be very interesting.
Well, I'll say mine while you're looking through theirs. Again, McCoy, Hood, McDonald, Boston, Hunter, McNeil Warren, we've talked about. Brandon Cisse, corner out of South Carolina. Really good, really athletic, little bit grabby, but really solid player. R. Mason Thomas on the edge, we've discussed a little bit. And Christian Miller, defensive tackle from Georgia, who I think was a little out of position as a 1-tech. I think he's more of a 3. And when he gets there, could really do some special things. Obviously, as Cowboys fans, we don't have a pick until the very end of the 3rd round. But again, now with 3 4th-round picks, you still have the 1-5 if you wanted to package those to move up from 92 and go get one of these linebackers that maybe starts dropping, or a defensive tackle, or if you want to just wait and see what comes to you. we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, there's other guys here too.
Yeah, who are some other guys that they have?
Some
that
other
you
guys
like?
you didn't mention. I don't know if you mentioned Avion Terrell or not. At one point was considered.
Avion Terrell, I have 38th overall, and D'Angelo Pons, I have 34th.
Yeah, other guys as well that's looking at ESPN that we didn't mention already at some point today. Chase Bastonis.
Chase Basantis.
Yeah, Basantis at the
I
guard
got
out
him
of
at
A&M.
39.
We know, again, offensive linemen always go higher than maybe some people think. Eli Stowers, I guess he's a tight end, but he kind of
Jumbo Chase Claypool situation going on, perhaps.
I'll call him big. Yeah,
or reverse Chase Claypool, I guess.
Yeah. Again, we talked about the linebackers a little bit already. C.J. Allen, Jacob Rodriguez,
Anthony Hill, but I think you got to throw Jake Golday out of Cincinnati in there as well.
Literally about to talk about him. Yeah, Jake is there. T.J. Parker, we talked a little bit about today.
I'm a little surprised he made it out of the first round. I think he probably should have. I have him at 47, but I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, so we're going to see. Again, there's going to be some other guys that obviously pop up tomorrow that maybe we don't personally agree with. But, again, the NFL has some more names. Again, I know I've seen center Connor Lew as an example. He tore his ACL this year, so didn't really get to play a full season. But a guy I've seen potentially go in the second. Again, not really going to do it for the Cowboys necessarily. I know you mentioned Lee Hunter was another one that you were high on in terms of defensive tackles. I'm just trying to make sure we didn't miss anybody here on our side.
I think we more or less got it covered.
I think we got it pretty covered. So I think, Cowboys again.
Super happy.
A+.
A+.
Can't do much better, I think, than what they did. And until, I guess, round 2, you and I
signing off.
We're going to sign off. So again, thank you.
We're not doing this for round 2, but
we're definitely not doing this for round 3. Not happening. So,
Josh, thanks again for doing this with me. Thank you guys for sticking with us. This was so much fun. If you would like some all-22 film of your favorite draft pick, shoot me a message. I'll be happy to send it over to you and put together that little highlight package for you. So thank you guys again. Josh, thank you. And we'll see you when we see you.
Until next time, guys.